Okay. Now we have beautiful people. I'm going to put you up to the top. Oh, look at these beautiful people, everybody. We have beautiful people. Almost.
Oh, Jesus, James.
And then we'll get this one. Okay. Drop that up. Oh, look at that. Hey, look. Now we look professional. Mellow greetings, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Oh, listen to all these fine folk. Okay. Oh, you know what's funny? I'm looking over. So, because Alex is in the middle of the stream, has the screen up. Alex, your stream looks remarkably like an Ico stream right now.
It does. Yes, it does.
It does.
I mean, at least mine isn't swimming in stonerness, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. You don't have the giant urine fountain saying pee break. That's right.
Yeah. That's not what I do for my pee breaks. I just throw fucking memes on and leave.
That's good, too. All right, now I got Ross Publica. Look at that. We're all in the house, just like that. Boom. All right. I'm sure Ross will get his shit on in a second. I got Polly off mic. Oh, there he is. Ross Publica. Oh, wait. Sorry. I almost forgot the most important part, everybody. Hold on. I can't have a Tracksuit Mafia with that. I feel like Mr. Rogers. I have a closet here in my office.
Yes.
And it just has like 4 hangers with 2 tracksuits. I walk in the house. I'm like, would you be my comrade? You know.
Love it.
I'm glad you finished that anecdote off, because when you said, I'm like Mr. Rogers, I've got a closet, I was like, was he gay?
Could have been. Who knows?
Like, good for him, I suppose, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. All right, so we're in good shape here. We're looking good. So mellow greetings, everybody. It is indeed time for another Tracksuit Mafia. In a world full of panels here on Twitch that are filled with 4 conservatives, 4 liberals, and, 1 leftist, I figured maybe it would be cool every once in a while if we had a place where a whole bunch of fucking leftists hung out, and I don't know, we'll throw it together and see what happens. So mellow greetings to everybody. Let's go around the horn. We'll do some introductions, and then I will show you the fierce questions. Up in the top left with that grid, it's Lexi. Hey, Lexi, about to tell everybody who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
I'm Alex. I'm a trans dude in the UK who happens to be Irish, so it's extra hellish for me. And for various reasons, I cannot transition. So I'm stuck the way I am. So I'm gonna make the fucking most of it. You can find me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/LexiBat with 2 eyes, because someone stole LexiBat with 1 eye before I fucking got there, the bastard.
You say you've got 2 eyes, but you're wearing sunglasses, so how do we know?
Eat shit and die, Kevin.
There you go.
Yeah, that's Alex. That sounds
I'm I'm an angry fucking trans anarchist who will use donking on trolls and right-wingers and people being dumb on fucking debate panels for content. I apparently have the best insults on Twitch, but who's counting? Me, I'm who's counting. Follow me if you like, I suppose.
So what Alex, aka LexiBat, wants you to know is that LexiBat has a list. So always a good way to start the panel is somebody letting you know that they have a list. They're keeping names. It's
They're checking it twice. They're gonna find out who's naughty and nice.
No,
Yeah,
I'm going to find out who has better insults than me, which so far is no one.
LexiBat is coming to town, and she's probably
Yes.
going to kneecap you. So
Wrong pronouns, Gavin.
What?
Alex is. Oh
You used female pronouns.
no, I didn't. I said
You
they.
did. You said she.
no, yeah.
No, I said they.
No,
It's
you
a
didn't. You
program.
said she.
Oh, well, I'm going to go back and watch the VOD, and if
Did
I'm
you do that?
correct on this, I'm going to fucking dunk on you. Okay.
Have fun, but you're not.
Let it be known. Let it be known.
Kevin will not be dunking today. Top
Thank you.
right. Top right. And our newest friend, I was on his panel last week. He has a fun stoner show. How do I know? Because I was hanging out with Ico, and the next thing I know, I'm apparently on the stoner show. And we caught him again last week at the Hippy Dippy Tag Team Roundtable. It's Jason. Jason, tell everybody who you are, where they can find you.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jason Society. You can find me at Jason_Society on Twitch. I am somewhere on the left. I'm ambiguously left, I'll say that, because I haven't nailed down a specific label for my ideology, but definitely a leftist. Along with that, I do cannabis and political streams, and every Sunday I do Stonercast, a discussion about marijuana with your favorite streamers that like to smoke weed also. So, if you want to check it out, Jason_Society on Twitch or Jason Society, all one word, on Twitter.
And yeah, if somebody could throw shout outs to chat, I'd appreciate it as we run down the list. Bottom left, definitely no bottom implication. It just worked out that way where the cameras landed. It is the man with the best username on Twitch. It is KFLogan1875. Tell who you are, what you do.
On my screen, I'm not bottom left. I'm in the middle. So anyway, but yeah, I'm Kevin Logan. I'm a dickhead on the internet. I'm feeling very cheeky breaky tonight, so let's do this.
Nice. Y'all should definitely go throw Kevin a follow. He's funsies. My tag team partner from last week, and definitely the person bringing fabulous to the panel, because good lord, we need some. Yo, Polly, hit him with the thing. Uh-oh. You're muted. Nope. Or is your mic? Do you have your mic muted, or are you just on different channel? Hold on.
Oh.
Polly's having audio issues.
You're mute.
Okay, hold on. Leftist audio. It's nice, everybody. Now it's official. Now you know it's leftist.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. That's right.
It's how we roll, y'all.
You know, James, I think it's really awful that you're silencing a trans person right now. We need to come together.
There's another trans person here who isn't, so shut the fuck up.
Oh, this is great. Oh, wait. Polly boogied. Hold on, wait. Polly's got to fucking reset something. I'm pretty sure. If anybody's...
Cancel culture. It's happening.
Man, this is it. Yo, now people are literally... That's it. I canceled a trans person. Oh, God. Oh, man. Tracksuit audio. Nice. All right, let's go bottom right while we wait for Polly to reconnect. Everybody, he's enigmatic. He's in all your chats. Last time I checked, he was an actual Ico emote. The less heralded, but not less enjoyable younger brother of ProPublica. It is our friend Ross Publica. Ross Publica, hit him with the stuff.
How's it going? I am Ross, commonly referred to as Ross. I do have a channel in which I stream once or twice a year, and that is Ross Publica. It's kind of a joke from Res Publica. Effectively, it translates to the public thing, so therefore I'm the public Ross. And I am here to get real public with you.
Nice. I say that was a dank intro. You need to turn that camera on more often, my dude. All right, let's check back in. Mellow greetings, Poly people. Oh, still no audio. Hey, I'm looking. Nope.
Make sure your Discord has the correct input, because it could be that. Because sometimes Discord will switch your input settings on you.
It's been happening to me when I do updates.
Oh, it just updated? Well, somebody feel free to type in Polly's chat. We got it. We got to get the Poly people. Literally, Poly people is Poggers people.
The Poly people. Yeah, about it.
Seriously, Poly people brings like 90% of the drip to this panel. Up. All right, I think Polly's resetting. She can hear. No, for Juice, I figured she could hear us. As long as one of you were in her chat, we're good. Hey everybody, it's Leftist Audio. What's going on? She's rebooting Discord. Copy that for Juice.
You know what, Lexi? I apologize. Someone clipped it. I did say the wrong pronoun. I apologize.
Told you so.
You're
right. It happens.
I used 2 days and then I fucked up. What an idiot.
Yeah, it happens. Don't worry about it. Especially for fucking an old English white guy who doesn't,
Old? What is going on there?
Older than me.
Well, I mean that's true, but then you're a baby. So.
Well,
Oh my fuck,
1875
I have
is
two
your
babies.
birth year, right?
No, I'm actually 1,875 years old. That's true.
See? Old. Older than dirt.
True. When I come now, it's mostly dust.
Like baby powder.
Which could be worse. When I was middle-aged, it was like toothpaste. It was horrible. Ugh.
I mean, you know, yeah, that's
I prefer the
see a
act,
doctor
frankly.
for that.
Yeah, if it comes out like toothpaste,
Yeah,
You might need to see a doctor.
Although apparently it tasted nice.
Minty fresh.
during the Middle Ages, it was probably the best tasting thing around.
Right.
there you go. It's not like in the Middle Ages in England they were big on spice or flavor or anything. It was, you know, before they conquered all the flavor people.
Have you ever tasted the succulent meat of a plague victim? It's tasty. That's all I'm saying.
What are the long-term effects of eating that plague person?
You go to Flavor Town. That's what you do. Okay. That's it.
The actual long-term effects are probably also plague.
Probably.
Oh, and in between those two things, actually, my wife explained this to me. If you eat people, you get very constipated.
Well, there's no chance.
Yeah,
my
don't eat
wife
the brain.
knows that.
Yeah,
Just saying, I got married to somebody who knows that.
That's worrying. Yeah.
So consensual cannibalism is a topic.
We're saving that one for the whenever we do the Tracksuit Championship, whatever that looks like. All right, so I think Polly's probably going into a full reboot. I'll pull Polly back in a second when Polly is here. In the interim, let me do a title thing, and we will get into some questions, and then we'll bring Polly in when she gets back. I'm easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, we got a doozy of a fucking question chunk here, people. Hopefully Polly gets back before we get too deep into it. But all right, everybody. I think this is how we're going to start every week with the same question. All right. We started last week with this. Let's see how the panel comes through this week. Question number 1: the CIA based or super based? Let's start with LexiBat.
How about fucking neither, actually? They would be considerably more based if they'd actually bothered to get consent for a lot of the fucking experiments they ran on, you know, the poor people, like the LSD experiments in the 60s. But otherwise, just not either of those things. Actually, the CIA can get fucked.
All right, so Alex is going to go with based. Let's go with Jason. CIA based or super based?
Get fucked.
All right. Jason also going with based.
No, got no love for the CIA. I feel like they've done a lot of underhanded shit that have actually been like disadvantages to the poor people in the entire world. You know, their operations, experiments like Lexi was alluding to, all the way around. I think they're a reprehensible organization. I think they should be taken apart, disassembled, find another way to do what we're doing with those folks.
No, I didn't realize I was coming onto a pan with a bunch of anti-American communist filth. What the fuck is going on here?
Oh, shut up. You're the only one in red.
We have good taste.
Exactly, which stands for the blood of the democratically elected leaders that the CIA has murdered. Okay? That's what this red means.
Or it means
I'm
that
wearing
you're
with
a
pride.
red. Or it means you're a red.
You're red.
Look,
All
the CIA is super bad. I'm not even going to wait for your intro, okay? I'm going to speak over you now, host. The CIA is unbelievably super based, okay? Like,
Alright, Supreme, calm down.
Who needs democratically elected government anyway? Certainly not people of colour. Am I right? Yeah, let's go.
Kevin Logan going with CIA super based. All right, hold on. Polly's like plugging stuff in. So let's go. Ross Publica, CIA based or super based?
I didn't think that I was going to be agreeing with a Brit, but the CIA is in fact super based.
Super.
It is out there ensuring that the interests that fund America's government are always being looked out for. and we should thank them for that. Thank
canceling
you,
both of you.
CIA.
Vox Publica not only going with super based, but thanking the CIA for their service. Gotta.
Look, we back the boys in. What color does the CIA have? Green. Fuck it. Whatever. We back the green.
Yeah, the thin, whatever color the military-industrial complex's line is.
Yeah.
That's a
Blood.
thing.
Blood is the color.
All right, everybody, hold on. Let's check it out. Drum roll.
No, it's still not working.
Oh,
Polly,
she's got her everything muted though. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she can hear us. She was just waving at the camera to say it's not working. I assume you've looked at your Discord settings and made sure your input was correct, right?
Me,
In
not Polly. Right?
voice and video.
No, Polly.
Polly.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, no. Polly's
Can
not
her
muted.
stream hear her?
Well, I assume her stream can. She'd have been told by now she was muted on stream.
Dun, dun, dun.
Have you tried unplugging your microphone and plugging it back in? Sometimes that works.
That's legit my favorite troubleshooting step as a tech support person.
Yeah.
Hold on. She said it works. It works on her end. The let's check function echoes her voice. Oh, Jesus, and she just had this set up the other day because I know she was.
Let me try something.
She streamed while on panel. Man, we gotta figure out if Polly thinks the CIA is based or super based. I'm really worried now.
Polly, can we get a thumbs up or thumbs down on the CIA?
Polly is correct.
Okay, so thumbs down was for super based. Thank you for participating.
Right.
Hold on. Wait,
This is how democracy works.
Shush.
Is it possible I have Polly? No, I have Polly is at everybody's defaulted at 100.
Oh shit, I am on push to talk.
There you go. You're on push talk
Hey.
all the time.
What the fuck?
We finally have a Polly.
Left.
I was like, I'm not on fucking push to talk. I don't know how that happened. I was yelling.
Everybody, we got Polly people in the house. Yo, Polly, you
Yes.
literally, we stretched all the way through. We got all the way, question one, you were the last person. So, before we go forward, my tag team partner last week on the Hippy Dippy Tag Team Royal Rumble, Polly people. Polly, hit him with the deets. Tell them who you are.
Okay, hello, it's me, Polly, and I am rightfully on the bottom here, where I prefer to be, and it is you can find me at Polly People, twitch.tv/Polly People.
For the record, Polly people is indeed Pogger's people, so.
Thank
I
you
was
very
mentioning
much.
before, you've got like a solid, like you're like 90% of the drip for the whole panel, and pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
Ross and Jason are just picking up the slack. You know, the rest of us are like, we're just half-assing it. Look at Ross. Looks like he's either like producing like a bad porn, or he's like conducting war for the government somewhere that nobody knows about. Like
I'll have you know that the porn that I produce is excellent.
Okay, Ross is the next Kissinger.
Nobody
I
wants
will
to
hear
see
no
bad
different.
porn. There you go. All right, so Polly people, we were just at the end of the first question. You're the last one, and I got to make sure we got you because we got thumbs up, thumbs down. Polly
Okay.
people, the CIA, based or super based?
Okay, they're super based at making sure Nazis are well funded. So if that's what you're going for, funding Nazis with equipment, military shit, support from the United States, super based.
Well, I thought
CIA.
I thought you leftoids were all in favour of government spending, but all of a sudden, when it comes to funding Nazis with weapons that they're going to kill ethnic minorities with, all of a sudden you've libertarians. All of a sudden, disgraceful.
Well, you know, we libs are gonna lib.
True.
Hey, my Raytheon stock is way up.
Oh,
yeah,
my-
so
Oh,
if that-
Raytheon can get fucked too.
I'm
Especially
just
with their
kidding.
fucking school bus missiles,
I
okay?
do not.
Fuck Raytheon.
I do not have stock.
I mean, it would be a good place for you to put, like, to get stock in if you were so inclined because of the military-industrial complex.
Well,
but fuck Raytheon.
I don't have stock. I just do adverts for them. Is that different?
Not particularly.
Like my stream is sponsored by Raytheon, killing brown kids with a smile. That's the tagline.
Yeah. Especially the school buses.
Hey, you know that popular missile that you use to
bills
drone
to pay,
things?
yeah.
Well, we put samurai swords on it.
Right.
Look, could someone just buy me a knife missile, please? They look interesting. I want to see how they work. I want to take it apart.
And once every 12 months, they put like the pride flag on the drones that bomb the Pakistani marriage services. So, you know.
Yeah, they support the gays while they bomb the Browns.
True.
Oh, wait, no, you're in this corner. Hold on.
Oh, the CIA, everybody, they're super based. They just, the left, leftists, we get a lot of flack for, saying bad things about the CIA just because we don't know what they've done for the last 15 years officially because, they keep everything super classified for 15 years, for our protection and their protection. But I don't know. It seems like they've been on a standard, steady trajectory for the last 80 years or so. That's why we had to check it. So final count out of 5, we had, I think Super Based won.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, on an actually serious note, I was in a fucking debate the other day with some dickheads. Anyway, and Wicked Supreme was on it, and he was like defending the CIA. And I was bringing up examples from the past, and he was like, that's from the previous century. Why can't you bring anything up? I was like, they don't declassify the documents for 20 years. So he was going, so you don't know then? You don't know what they've been up to for the last 20 years? No.
Fucking works.
Exactly, and that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
I did cover that on stream, and I spent most of what I covered pulling my fucking hair out, screaming at my monitor, being like, no, shut the fuck up, you boot deep-throating fuckwit. That's not how anything works.
Bro.
If you can't trust the CIA, you trust.
It was while Supreme was talking.
I mean, he's why I asked the question. So I think this is going to be the first question every time we do a Tracksuit Mafia roundtable, is CIA based or super based.
Well, I can't imagine it's ever going to be anything but super based. It's never been not super based in its entire history, so it's all good.
But it's like trickle down, like any day now. It could,
The blood of innocent people trickles down onto the floor of various third world countries. Yeah.
Hey, the CIA is made up of people, and those people have feelings, and they feel like people in second, or third world developing nations, their lives don't matter, and that's okay, because facts don't care about your feelings. I
was told you leftoids care about cultural sensitivity, and it's part of America's culture to coup third world countries. So it's tradition, like
it's
apple
our thing.
Pie or
but it's our tradition, and we get to own whether or not we're actually gonna continue that tradition or not, right?
Can I take this time to decry the horrific attacks against our great CIA patriots in Havana from the brain laser that has made them sad?
They can all get fucked.
That's really it's terrible that communist laser is blasting their brains and making them sad.
Look, Havana syndrome is a very serious crime against humanity that needs to be dealt with, okay? Fidel Castro's corpse is causing the brains of CIA agents to explode.
Maybe
they don't know who to be angry at anymore.
Yeah, maybe we get Sarah McLachlan to come out and sing a sad song while we raise money for the victims of Havana syndrome.
Just crying CIA agents sitting alone in their office, like huddled up, with a blanket and shit,
She's all singing "Arms of an Angel," like, and all the CIA agents just in a cage.
It's a skirt.
You get like some B-list celebrities come back like, for just $10 a month, you can sponsor a CIA agent who has been exposed to the awful brainwaves. Don't you feel sorry for? And then they can just pat them on the head gently and be like, look into his eyes, tell him he's not worth it. No,
it turned me into a newt. I got better.
Based on Mighty, you're all mad.
Oh, it's going to be a good day, people, okay? When the first question really kicked off, it's normally just a conversation starter. But shit's about to go from fucking weird to really weird. I think this is the best question I've ever come up with for any interview or panel, and I've been interviewing people for a decade. Here you go. People always say, why have an all-left panel? Everybody's just going to agree with each other. It's just going to be a bunch of people just wanking. Yeah, you ready? Here we go. Question number 2 on the board. Should people legally be allowed to sell their own organs or body parts? Top left.
That was a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, like that, huh? Let's go with Lexi Bat.
I think it depends. 1, are they fully capable of Gillick competence? So can they make proper informed consent decisions? 2, is this something that's being done officially through official channels, safe channels? Or is this something, as happens in places like Afghanistan, that ends up taking place in like a fucking back alley somewhere? And 3, is it necessary? In that, A, would they rather sell than donate? Because someone can choose to donate an organ while they're still alive, like part of their liver or a kidney, while they're alive, like bone marrow, etc., to people they match with. People can opt to do that. So why not be allowed to opt to get fucking paid for it? Although, it would be better off if we just fixed the socio-economic conditions in the first place that make someone considering that necessary.
Pish posh. All right. Not bad. Number 2, let's swing over to Jason's society. Jason, should people legally be allowed to sell their own organs and body parts?
In our current economic crisis, which it is a crisis for people, a lot of people in poverty, I would say no, because what it's doing is it's creating a system by which people are exploited for their organs. There's actually a law, I think, passed on this like quite a while back for this very reason, that ultimately the people that would end up having to sacrifice organs just to get by would be the most impoverished people among us. And that would disadvantage them and put them in a negative, obviously a negative situation. They're literally having to sell their organs to survive. People will use that as a catalyst to say, oh, well, you don't need charity. Go sell your organs first. You know, go get a fucking job. You know, like you hear that all the time. Same type of thing they're going to tell these people. Absolutely not. And it's not to limit their freedom, but it's to protect them from economic extortion, essentially.
Kevin Logan, what do you think?
I think you shouldn't, with one exception. I think you should be allowed to sell penises and nothing else. Just the penis. At least in part because, as a man of great endowment myself, I would have the largest untapped reserves of penis on Earth. I'm very much the Saudi Arabia of dick, is what I'm saying.
And largely unused.
Almost entirely, yes.
Like most oil reserves, they're still in the ground. Wow, well played, well played. So only dicks.
Only dicks.
But you're okay with people selling them, though. You're totally good with people just going, here.
Yeah, selling it or renting it, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, renting. Now you're talking about passive income. That's something different. Okay, let's. You're all the way up here. We need you like down here. Okay, we're just starting. Yeah. Poly people. Should poly people and other people be allowed to sell their body parts and organs?
I mean, okay, so the answer is, all right, so the answer is no, because that just gives more power to the idea to wealth. It just means wealthy people are going to get more shit that they don't deserve. However, like, we're in a dog shit system, right? So like, what if it's between selling your organs and like death? You know, now you're just saying, you know, poor people are just gonna now die. I have a hard time in this world where like it's very hard to just make it to say no, never. You know what I mean? It's my only like of course you shouldn't people shouldn't be allowed to sell their organs because that just gives more power to somebody that has money. People that have money are going to be the first to get get all the good stuff, just like they always are. And that's not just. But, you know, I guess I'm just making up an issue. You know, it might be just, I'm thinking in a hypothetical situation where it might be permissible, and I could see it in that situation, but even that is not even a very strong argument for being able to sell your organs. It's just a sad situation.
Don't disagree. Ross Publica, where do you land on the old organ meat stuff?
Well, I wanted to ask a clarifying question. Was it sell my organs or sell anyone's organs?
Ooh, didn't think about that.
Apparently neither did I, or I had to put it in the question. Let's go with just your own for the time being. Let's not be third-party brokers.
Can I add a clarifying question to that clarification?
Sure.
In what way do you legally own a thing if you can't sell it on to a third party?
I mean, it's a good clarifying question, because obviously the basis for this is, especially with, you know, both capitalist and libertarian thought, that, you know, your own body is technically your own private property and you own it, thus you can improve upon it, profit from it, share it, and
exactly. Look, I don't want the government standing in the way between me and my organ business. Don't tread on me or my 35 spare kidneys, please.
Or your enormous dick. Please don't tread on my enormous dick. That would make a good flag.
Well, that's a problem I often have myself. Yeah.
I get that. That's all right. So Ross Publica, there's your clarifying question. So no, only your own. Should you be allowed to sell your own body parts and/or organs?
Functionally, what's the difference between selling, let's say, my liver or a part of my liver, and renting out myself as a blood boy for the ultra wealthy to filter their blood for them?
Sorry, blood boy. I'm going to take a second on the phrase blood boy. That's a beautiful, poetic. It's like Shakespeare or some shit. Yeah.
I approve. Blood boy is very acceptable.
And now, well done, you now have a rich dude just wired up to your back as your kidneys filter his blood.
I'd have that. I'd wear George Soros like a backpack. Absolutely.
Yeah. So wait a minute, hold
on.
Wait, I gotta get this. So what you're saying is, so like when you go to like dialysis or something or whatever, and they put you in the chair, they stick the needle in, then there's like a centrifuge or a machine behind you, and it basically does this, and it like shuttles out all the good stuff, it pushes the stuff. So what you're saying is that instead of a centrifuge, you rent yourself, and you get an in tube and an out tube. Is that basically what you're talking about?
Right.
So then it's like your host has like 4 kidneys. They have theirs and yours.
You'd have like Warren Buffett as a conjoined twin.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I literally I picture it like that old philosophy tube abortion video where he was talking about theoretically arguing against Steve Bannon about abortion, and he was like, well, if a female person or a person with a uterus can be forced to carry a child to term and birth them, why is it that you cannot be forced to have someone else strapped to your back because your kidneys need to filter their blood, and if your kidneys don't, they'll die? Why is that different? It was like it was what they refer to philosophically as the violinist problem.
I will answer the question though.
Yes.
I think that because of bodily autonomy, your ability to do with your body whatever you want, even if I necessarily don't agree with it, is just kind of how it is. Whether you can find like the system or whatever to have your organ removed and sell it and all of that, that's an entirely different story. I think the conditions in which a person would feel compelled to sell an organ should be illegal. There is right now a provision that the president could enact, and sorry, Brit Bongers, but there's something in the United States, Title 42, that the president could enact and give healthcare to everybody in the United States.
What are you saying sorry to me for? You're the ones without fucking healthcare. What?
Well, hey, we would be expanding it to YouTube if we could. But yeah, Title 42. Instead, we're using it to separate kids from their families at the border. But we could instead have healthcare for every American in the country.
Sounds like
and I think that's illegal, or I think that should be illegal. I mean.
Okay, right. Leftists claim to be so tolerant. What about if someone's got a kink for selling their body parts? You gonna kink shame someone for that?
Yeah, if your kink is for capitalism, fuck you. Your kink sucks.
Yeah, base.
True. I wasn't expecting a serious comeback to the joke, but you know what? Fair play.
Solid. Yeah, I thought that was just going to hang out there and fade, but nice. Polly's like, well played. So no, I know this is like kind of like a ghoulish question, and I'll open it back up to everybody now that we're done with the start stuff, but just to throw it out there for the sake of the conversation, A, we exist under capitalism, which absolutely blows ass. B, it requires us to get money. C, technically we own our own bodies. D, there are multiple countries all over the world right now where they literally do have, quote, illegal organ banks where they, whether it's by force or voluntarily, they come up with organs for people, in lots of other countries. And then lastly, a good number of people just donate their organs. It's like on their driver's license and they don't think about it. And then once they die, their organs are donated. So I'm just saying, in a society where we've capitalized and commodified healthcare, we've capitalized and commodified death care. What do you do with people after they die? And we've commodified humanity and the people within it. We all have social security numbers. We literally, that's why we exist. So I as ghoulish as an idea or thought this is, I kind of had to throw it out there. So I don't.
It was a good question. It's good.
I think it's a great question.
On a genuinely serious point, being from the UK. People will know we have a nationalised healthcare system here, which is based as fuck. But the blood donation people, or the blood donation organisations for each healthcare trust, are run slightly differently, and some of them have begun to privatise their blood donation systems. And I've said before, I've donated blood because I think it's a righteous thing to do, and it's not going to aid a private company. It's just going into someone's body to keep them alive, right? But the ethical dilemma would be, if the healthcare trust in my area privatises their blood system, would I ever feel comfortable doing that then? Because you're giving your blood, and even if they pay you like £10 or whatever, I don't fucking care. I don't do it for the money. I don't want to aid in their profit. I just want to try and keep some people alive. Do you know what I mean? That's a really horrible situation to have to be in, I think.
Well, if it helps, they would be contracted to the NHS, which means they would necessarily have to offer that service at a considerably cheaper rate than they would in the US, for example.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It'd still be going free at the point of use to the person who needs the blood, but it's still, I don't want to fucking aid the ghoulish pricks involved in the harvesting of people's blood.
Well, I think one other thing too is, and I guess this is counter to my argument a little bit, but we do already allow people to rent out their uterus for surrogacy.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's how I think about these things: is what should in a fair and just world be something you can sell, and what is likely to get abused by people who have extra money. If we're gonna allow money to buy anything, what is that going to look like? So I don't even think you should be allowed to rent out your uterus to somebody, because that's just going to cause the rich people to be able to have kids in a way that they find convenient or desirable, or maybe it's the only way they can, but it seems unfair.
Okay, okay, clarification on that then. If there were some government system which would, say if you wanted to have a kid and you couldn't, there was some government system whereby you could apply for funds that would pay the person to be a surrogate, would that change your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, if it's fair, it's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also people who will
I don't know, market, I think.
There's also people who will offer to be a surrogate for no pay.
True. True.
for families who can't afford to pay a surrogate.
All right. Well, somebody.
Yeah, so
somebody
I think
put
what
in
I'm
chat-
saying.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Molly.
I was gonna say, yeah, okay, so that helped me think through what I was saying. Like, I think what I have a problem with is not necessarily the compensation for it's the market. You know, I wouldn't necessarily be for a market for like certain things like surrogacy.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So somebody in my chat brought up. So people donate both sperm and eggs, and while sperm's easy, it's like twist, turn, pull, done. You know, harvesting eggs. There's an entire process that women have to go through. You have to take you literally have to give yourself shots like through your fucking belly. Like every week or every 2 weeks, because they're supposed to they'll strengthen the eggs and give you like a greater egg count, so that when you go in and they harvest the eggs, they get the maximum number of like juiciest eggs they can. And this is an entire industry where, you know, they'll pay you like thousands of dollars for your eggs, and then in turn, I'm assuming they then take those eggs and sell them to, you know, fertility doctors or whatever, and probably sell that for a markup. So again, this is already multi-tiered, commodified, where a human being is a resource and multiple other, not only just people in general, but you're talking about multiple tiers of basically a market and an economy. And this is already a microeconomy that is already established.
Well, it's another example of femoid privilege as well. They get paid thousands.
Oh,
for
shut
it.
the fuck up, Kevin.
I come into a cup, I get nothing.
Shut the fuck up. You come into a cup and get nothing here. If you were in the States, you'd be able to sell that sperm.
You can sell your sperm here, yes. You can.
Yeah.
There's sperm
Now,
banks.
the thing is, right, with that, some women, depending on what they're having done, it's actually every day they need to have hormonal shots. But those eggs, bear in mind, if they are not harvested and frozen, which is what happens, they get frozen and then they get shipped off to fertility clinics on dry ice. If they're not frozen, they're just going to be passed anyway. They're just going to be expelled and passed anyway.
Mm-hmm. True.
You know, so if a uterus having person is capable and decides they want to either give their eggs to someone who doesn't have functional eggs of their own, or they want to sell their eggs under the system we're currently in, where it's incredibly difficult to raise up on the socioeconomic ladder in any way, shape, or form. To be honest, I don't have a fucking problem with it.
Yeah, this is the sort of complicating factor. In theory, I'd have no problem with any number of different things in an absolutely fair, uncoerced, financially or societally or indeed militarily in some cases, system like that. Whereas the system as it currently is essentially it's rich people taking advantage of poor people's poverty to steal their body parts at rates that are ridiculously under what they should really be worth.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Yeah. That's exactly my point too. It's like, you know, you create a market, and they're going to create the market to where the cost for these organs is really low, because people will pay for it if they're desperate enough, or people will do it if they're desperate enough, I should say. So they're going to, you know, take whatever money they can get and run with it, you know, if they're in that kind of situation. So yeah, totally, 100%. I agree with that. You can't.
And the same is true to a degree with things like medical experiments. Like, if people want to help the cause of medical science in some sort of uncoerced way, that'd be awesome. That's wonderful. But in the current system, you're essentially asking poor people to. I mean, they get paid relatively decent amounts, it would appear, but you're putting yourself at medical risk out of sheer necessity because of poverty. That's not a fair situation at all.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the organ donors register. So when I fucking kick the bucket, whatever's usable is going to whoever needs it. And it's likely it'll just go to medical science.
Dibs on the liver.
Oh, you don't want my liver, trust me. It's likely it's just going to end up going to medical science. But, like, even that's useful because it'll train the next, like, round of doctors, the next generation of doctors. And when whoever's used it is done with it, or they've taken the parts they need, just throw the rest of me in the fucking bin. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to care.
Yeah, well, they just recently changed to the opt-out system, I think, in England recently, where essentially, unless you directly choose to opt out of organ donation before you die, it's assumed that you're okay with that, and they'll take what they need and sew you up and give you the corpse back to bury, basically.
Here in the States, it's the reverse. You have to check the box that says, I agree to be an organ donor when you go and get your driver's license.
Yeah, well, it used to be that here, but the people were like, well, we're just burying perfectly good organs to rot in the ground or burning them in a...
Because people don't know how to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Well, here in the United States, people are somewhat concerned about, staying intact for Judgment Day. They'll be swept up into the sky.
Well, you think Magic Man would have some sort of automatic dialysis or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you would need kidneys in heaven.
Hey, the book says you got to be intact, and
It
stuff.
also says about the birds, so like I don't really care.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I can agree with that. I can agree with organ donation post-mortem. If you can get paid out ahead of time, that would be fucking tight, dude. Like, if you're already going to donate your organs of your dead body, just be like, hey, yeah, I'll take care of my organs really well, and you're going to pay me, and then when I die, you can take those organs, instead of just donating them to science when you die.
Like a remortgage on your house, but for your body.
Yeah.
You just mortgage it off, and then you get paid later,
Hang on, I get a little pushback on Ross Publica here. Hold on, Ross Publica. If you donate a whole bunch of your organs, then technically you would be lighter, so when the rapture happens, you'd actually go up quicker because you weigh less. So you'd get to the top of the rapture party first.
Gravity is not going to be a problem because they'll suspend the disc from rising.
So the Catholics believe they need to be buried whole cloth, like full body, untarnished, blah, 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 in order to come back for the rapture to happen in the first place. And I know this because I was raised Catholic. I hate it. I know.
So was
Now.
I was a Catholic altar boy. Genuinely, people don't.
I am so
terribly
sorry.
Terribly sorry.
But what all I have to say is, thankfully, I was one of the few that got away untouched. So,
Oh, yes. Anyway.
swings and roundabouts.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up so I can make a point, will you? There are other people. Shut up. Where the fuck was I going with that? Right. Yeah. So they believe they need to be buried whole cloth. But most of them, 90% of the time, will get fucking cremated anyway. So quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't seem to matter what they want because they're going to go against it with what the norms are anyway.
I mean, look, so for what it's worth, to put this in context just for everybody. So, being poor, I actually, there was a service where they do plasma donations, and plasma is more difficult than just doing a blood draw. Like, literally, my wife, like 2-3 times a year at work, like, something happens and the Red Cross sets up and they put out an email in the office. They're just like, hey, everybody, donate blood. Go down to the blood donation center. You get like a extra hour on your lunch break or whatever. And that's how they do blood. But plasma, like, requires a whole fucking process. And, like, I literally met people who were, like, working as, like, handymans for, like, $8 an hour in LA. They were like, yeah, go to this place. It's down the road, blah, blah, blah. And I started going there, and you donate your plasma, and they have, like, a whole system set up. And you get like $35 for the first visit. And then, like, the second visit, you only get 20. And then the third visit, you get, like, 25. And then the fourth visit, you get, like, 30. And basically, you can donate, like, once a week. And they literally, like, hook you up to a centrifuge for a solid, like, half hour. You sit in a chair, and they take all the good stuff out, and they just pour, like, the liquid back in, and you're all fucked up afterwards. And you literally walk out of there with, like, a 20 and a 5 in your hand, and you're all fucked up.
No, the first time, like, it's 100.
And that's probably I'm just saying that's probably the least, like, worst case scenario of, quote, a person selling, a piece of themselves for money. Like, that's the bottom of the pyramid, just so you all know.
Yeah, that sounds horrendous.
So what'd you have, Jason?
Oh, no, yeah, I've donated plasma. Yeah, first time I got $100, and then, yeah, $25 every time after that. Because they have to do intake and do a bunch of tests and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. Because I did this back in, like, I want to say this is probably the late 90s in LA.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what they paid. But they had it so that you got a bunch of money on the first draw of the month and a bunch of money on the last month if you did all 4 donations in a month to ensure that you would come back every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had something like that, too, yeah. Same thing. It was pretty, yeah. And, the people that went there were people that were hard up, It truly was. You didn't see a lot of, like, well-off people going to donate plasma, The people that are well off will just go donate blood to like you were saying, to the Red Cross or something like that, and call it a day.
Well, people with money nowadays literally do like their own, like they go to like cryo banks and shit, and they donate their own blood, their own stem cells, their own eggs, like all this shit, and put it on ice, like it's kind of like an extra parts repository for them, which again is why I bring up the point of, should people legally be allowed to sell their own organs or body parts, because we're already literally selling everything but that legally at this point anyway. Like hypothetically, you have 2 kidneys and you have no capital, and you need money for whatever. You could literally sell your kidney for like fucking 20 grand the next day or something.
Well, I can't wait for the institution of Ancapistan, because in Ancapistan you own your own kids, so you get to sell your own kids, right? Can't wait.
Yeah, and Ancapistan just sell your kids' organs, right?
Yeah, you have a lot of kids. You're walking around spare parts that you don't have to pay to refrigerate.
Victorian England all over again. One of the big problems I can see happening, if this were to be the case, is it would end up with very much what places like Afghanistan and Palestine and Pakistan have in place, which is dodgy fucking back of the alleyway fucking clinics that aren't sterile with unfucking qualified doctors doing the removals in the first place. Which is just
if you made it legal, there would be standards and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, whereas we know that organ selling happens on the black market anyway. At the very least, if it were legal, there'd be regulations and standards. And fewer people theoretically would die by doing it in the back alley.
How many people though currently sell their organs though? Like, what's the amount of the population that's going to do that on the black market? I think that would be interesting to know.
I don't know the statistics, but I do know it is common enough that it's like a fucking media trope from the early 2000s and the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, of like black market sold fucking organs being rushed from one side of the country to a hospital somewhere else in the US in a fucking cooler bag.
And there is a trope of like people waking up in a bathtub full of ice.
That as well, yeah.
Kidney.
With one kidney.
With their organs nicked, yeah.
So real quick, a quick Google search says about 10% of all organ transplants worldwide are believed to be illegal, which would be approximately 13,000 organ transplants per year occur from organs on the black market.
There you go.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I would say that in the same way that America should be held responsible for creating the conditions in which a person would feel compelled to sell an organ, I think we should also be responsible for Afghanistan, since we're withholding all of their central bank's funds and kind of making the famine that's happening there worse. So how do we get the bad guys?
True, but more importantly, America needs to be held accountable for spray-on cheese from a can. That's just...
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, Kevin. But we get the bad guys by fixing the socio-economic conditions.
Correct.
Which isn't going to happen for as long as capitalism is a profitable system, basically.
Now, Cheese Whiz on a Philly cheesesteak is not necessarily like a sin.
No, it's a sin and it's incorrect. If you want a decent cheese filling for a Philly cheesesteak, what you need is some cream cheese and some grated cheddar and some grated mozzarella all blitzed up together to basically make homemade Cheese Whiz.
Hold on, I'm calling Gopnik timeout. Hold on. Hey, save that food heat for the last question. The last question's always the food question. All right, don't be bringing the food heat this early. You're giving away like the headline act, and we're still in the beginning of the show.
That's a real question.
I refuse to be shown alongside these awful people.
It's not my fault you're American and therefore cultureless.
Look, I'm just saying, Cheese Whiz, eating Cheese Whiz should count as a suicide attempt. That's how bad it is. Okay.
Creating cheese whiz should count as a fucking war crime.
True.
Typical leftists. They don't want to follow instructions. They just want to do their own thing.
I prefer provolone or
Well, sing
mozzarella
to the
on my
head.
cheesesteaks, so I guess I'm different. But yeah, I don't usually go with the
All
cheese.
right. James said stum on the food, so let's stum on the food.
Come on, we're talking about people. Maybe not talking about food while we're talking about people donating their own organs. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. It's
Well, look,
a
once I
little
buy-
creepy.
What if
Once
they're
I buy
donating their
someone
own
else's
organs for
organ-
food?
Yeah, I was about to say, once I buy the organ, it's what I do with it. It's what I want to do with it. I can fuck it, I can eat it, I can feed it to my cat. What?
Look, just don't eat human brains, okay? Because that's how prions happen.
Well, I saw that documentary. Was it the
The
Hannibal?
Kuru one.
Yeah, and he eats the brain. It's fine.
No,
It's alright.
for fuck's sake.
I love that documentary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There are actual documentaries that you can watch about Kuru where people literally go fucking insane because they've eaten brains. It's madness.
A little bit of madness never hurt
Have they
anybody.
eaten the brain and that they absorb all that information and they become too clever for you to really understand? Whoa,
Or you haven't even got a brain in your damn head.
bro.
You're
Kevin,
sentient
see?
bomb fluff.
Listen to the Kevin.
This is why Kevin would be pro selling organs because he could buy one legally.
That's fair.
And I'm pro selling organs because I can find there's organs all over the place.
I feel like
They're all
I feel like
local.
Ross is very focused on this whole third party organ salesperson thing. I feel like you're well too prepped for this.
I'm a facilitator, you know?
Brings a whole new meaning
Either.
to the pizza chain
so.
Organ Stop Pizza.
Ross Publica has a unique set of skills.
Yeah, he's gonna be the next motherfucking Jigsaw, right? Setting up all these tests and oh no, he's gonna harvest your organs to sell them at the end anyway.
Oh, good. All right, so let's
I don't have the attention for that.
yeah, whoa, slow your roll. That's a lot of work, okay? Like, all right, so let's go around the horn. Let's get everybody's final answer on this, because again, I think this is like, I had never really thought about it past like the point of me like again selling plasma, but we live in a capitalist hellscape, so. All right, let's go around the horn. Lexibat, final answer.
For the sake of autonomy, I still can't say no unless actively dangerous. Like actively health dangerous.
Alex votes yes on should people be legally allowed to sell their own organs. Jason Society.
Yeah, not in the current economic climate. I just see too much possibility for, economic, what's the word I'm looking for? I said extortion
Ross,
before. It's not the word I'm looking for, though. But, it's
You're right about
exploitation.
Ross's prosperity. I see. I see what it is. Yeah, you just want to keep Ross from making money. That's cool.
I just
Hey,
want to
keep
keep.
the man
I just
down.
want to keep Ross down because I think his third-party method is just going to be too profitable for him, and I feel like I need to find a different avenue to cut into that market. So until I can do that, I just totally think that selling organs should be off the table.
Are you saying you want to get cut into the market?
Yeah, but I have to find my own way. Once that happens, then we can talk. We can talk.
Kevin Logan.
We'll talk after.
Kevin Logan, final answer.
One word for you: penis.
Kevin Logan, yes, people should be allowed to sell their own organs. Poly People.
No.
Poly People says
No.
no, people should not be allowed to sell their own organs. Holly holding strong, I respect it. Ross Publica, merchant person, what do you got?
Yes, and if you do, come on down to Ross Publica's Organ Emporium, where I will give you the best rates on kidneys, livers, lungs, even a knee.
That's ross'sorganemporium.com.
Ross is going to be the Jeff Bezos. Of
Julie Hills, thank you so much for the follow. I
You're
appreciate
going to start
that.
getting drone deliveries. Of
Glad to have you in our
fucking organs
community.
and
Ross,
Right,
yo,
why-
listen,
Why
Ross
do you
seems
make
way
your-
too comfortable with this.
shit. Yeah. Why do you make your warehouse workers like pissing bottles? It's weird. You're out of order.
Because they
You don't know.
they sell the piss
You don't
too.
know what my kinks are.
Well, I would sell the piss too. Like at that point, if I'm selling organs, you know, I'm gonna make my workers piss in bowls and, you know, shit in like cups and stuff, so I can sell that as well. You know, you gotta sell everything.
I mean, to be fair, if you make sure your workers are conventionally attractive, you'd probably make a fucking mint. You know, what with Belle Delphine and fucking Amaranth selling their fucking farts and bathwater.
Exactly.
Pretty sure you could probably find a market for their piss as well. Because people are fucking mad.
There are people right now that are drinking urine because they have been told that it will remove the vaccine if they've been vaccinated. You can
Also,
get rid
it's
of the
sterile,
vaccine
and I like
by
the
drinking
taste.
urine.
Where is it? Why is it always piss? And no, that's a myth. Urine is not actually sterile. Why is it always piss? Seriously, why? Why is it always piss? It doesn't matter if it's COVID, it doesn't matter if it's the vaccine, it doesn't matter if it's fucking swine flu or Ebola or whatever fucking else. It's always piss'll fix it. No, it won't. No. The reason you're pissing it out is because you've taken all the goodness from it. You fucking brain dead sentient fart.
Yeah, but it's blatantly just a husband being like, no, I know it tastes weird, but just if you swallow it, it's good for you. Honest.
Someone in my chat said they have to pass piss tests somehow. Which, I mean, that's a fair reason to buy piss.
See, that's a perfect reason to collect piss from your employees. You just have to make sure your employees don't do drugs, which might
You
get
never
kind
know
of
when you'll be
shitty.
swarmed by jellyfish and need gallons and gallons of other people's urine.
Yeah, it could.
Also,
can see
side
that.
note, Respublica doesn't pay his employees enough money to be able to do drugs. So all that urine in that warehouse will be clean.
Oh,
Oh.
that stuff's pristine.
Well,
I'll tell
gravy
you
then.
what. It's
Oh, God, my cat
it's
gets
cleaner than
worse.
a baby. Babies.
It's cleaner than a baby. Weird
Babies
thing.
aren't. As someone with two, babies are not clean. I could promise you that for fucking nothing.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, no, like they don't have drugs in it. The urine.
that's
Well,
that's
not
true.
yours. No, well,
Not necessarily. It depends on if their mother was a crackhead before they were born.
Yeah, not
Yeah, I
yours,
know,
baby. Yeah.
I couldn't carry the joke through. I
No,
have-
you couldn't.
I have
No, you
some.
couldn't.
I need to hook you up with some party babies. I do fucking lines, man.
If it helps, my chat has gotten worse. Apparently, Piss'll Fix It is a very weird porn parody.
Oh, that is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
These
I
are the
love
things
it.
you find out. See, the internet is both vast and wondrous.
I fucking hate this place.
This is the worst timeline. Don't get it twisted. This is literally the worst. There's like an alternate reality somewhere that's like literally right on top of this one. It's like, you just can't see it. Where like we have like flying cars and like everybody has weed growing in their backyard because everybody has a yard and a house. There's like an alternate reality, like just a millimeter, half a second away from ours, where shit's awesome. And instead of flying cars, we got should people sell their organs, and we literally have to sit here and go, kind of, yeah. So
Oh, Jesus.
worst timeline ever.
I'll co-sign
This is-
bodily fluids. That's as far as you get me on the organs, or post-mortem organ sales. Like you can sell the organs before you die, and then after you die, they can do whatever they want. That would be
Oh,
me.
God. This is
Hey,
the
they're your
timeline that when...
organs. Use them when you need them.
Yeah,
Call
well-
1-866. I'll buy your organs.
This is the timeline that when Putin said he was going to nuke the West, made me go, finally.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Things are so shit that I was thinking to myself, if an asteroid hit the Earth, I wouldn't be that bothered. Like it's like I
Can
can
we at
take
least
that.
make sure it
Time
aims
for a
for my
restart.
house?
You know, apparently, there was I think the army confirmed that there was a meteorite did hit the Earth like yesterday or the day before.
And yet I'm still suffering. Fuck's sake.
Why are we alive?
Come on, universe, do better. Can you do better, please? Like really, you're slacking. You're slacking here.
So right
rough
now,
out
I
there,
am
kids.
trying to mix in my bathtub meds for chuds, and I'm gonna deliver it free as part of my universal healthcare program. My bathtub chud med.
Well, it can't be worse than some of the shit you get from the pharmaceutical industry.
You don't have to drink your piss anymore.
You can drink
Holly's
somebody
bathtub,
else's.
Yeah, I don't.
Polly's leftover bathwater.
Yeah, I don't have to.
That's right.
But, you know, I want to.
It's about the dedication to the practice.
Exactly.
You like to see that much, people who have that much care for, their craft. It's commendable. You like to see that sort of thing.
I mean, if you've ever seen Beer Fest, the best way to train for a beer Olympics is to drink goat piss, So, or yak piss, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm a giver at heart, really. I care about change, the kind of change we can believe in.
I mean,
at least it comes to buying bathwater.
I'm with her.
At least if you sell your bathwater, you know for a fact at least
nice.
Some conservatives will buy it because of how many of them just fetishize trans people.
True.
Oh my god, this is the worst timeline ever. Okay, all right. Let's refocus here. So to prove that this is indeed the worst timeline in the world, here's question number 3. This is actually a serious one. Do you think that Putin, under some circumstance, will actually deploy a nuclear weapon sometime in this whole fiasco with everything that's going on? Will he fucking press the button or not? Let's start with Kevin Logan this time. Kevin Logan.
I don't think he will. I think there would be a situation that he would, in that if we were to, the West, to some extent, were to invade Russia, I think as a matter of self-defense, I think he absolutely would. I think he's enough of a fucking lunatic to do that. But I think it's just posturing. I don't think he has any intention of doing anything like that. I don't know that he even has really the power to be able to pull that shit off without, I don't know, someone around him pulling him back, you would hope. But I don't think he will. I think it's posturing. And not just that, but I think we've seen that Russia is a paper tiger anyway. R.I.P. the Moskva, lol.
Fair. Polly, opening. Do you think there's a situation in which Putin would push the shiny red button?
There's no shot that he would push the shiny red button in a way that he's actually knows that he's making like a first nuclear strike. There's always, of course, my first reaction was like, no, of course not, that's ridiculous. But this is a moment to point out to everybody that there's always, in this world where immoral weapons like nuclear weapons exist, ones that could eliminate humanity, there's always the chance when tensions are high between the West and, the non-West, I guess, or the other than West, that there is a accidental nuclear exchange. So he could always come to believe, for example, that there's a strike against him that he has to respond to, the use them or lose them threat that's always out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would do it like as a first strike.
All right. Ross Publica, what do you got? Opening, hit me.
Broadly speaking, I don't think that Putin would use nuclear weapons, in part because no balls, but also because I think tactically it would be a huge mistake. There was a document that was put out in March of this year to advise the congressional whatever, basically talking about sort of what their arsenal looks like and what their tactics are based on our best intelligence. And I don't think he will, unless we invade Russia, or Russia is quote unquote invaded. Maybe not necessarily we do it, but NATO partner or something. But things would have to go much further awry, I think, for nuclear weapons to get broken out.
Lexi Bat, where are you? Opening. What do you got? Putin, yay or nay on the red button?
So I'm actually a little bit torn on this. The charitable part of my brain, which is most of it, is saying, nah, he's not that fucking stupid, right? It's saying that he knows mutually assured destruction is a thing. If he presses that button, he's fucked. He wants somewhere to rule and be Tsar of, and he will not have that if mutually assured destruction takes place. However, with his behaviour so far in the invasion of Ukraine, and his complete incapability of any kind of tactical planning whatsoever, he's like a 12-year-old fucking Civ 6 player, failing miserably. He's a fucking madman, and I don't think we can discount anything that would potentially be attempted by a fucking madman when he doesn't get his way.
Decent society. Opening, what do you got? Yay or nay?
It's possible. I think it's very possible because he does have low yield nuclear warheads that are like a tenth of the strength of what was dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So, I mean, considering, that these smaller warheads probably aren't something that we're talking about a mutually assured destruction, I think if he can't get a foothold in Ukraine the way he wants and this continues to drag on, those low yield nukes, I think, are definitely a possibility that he would consider using. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I had when I looked at this initially, like when I put the question up, my thought was that I don't think Putin would ever open and, launch one of the big ass fucking ICBMs at, London or, Washington DC or some shit like that. But, like I thought about it, I was like, would this crazy bastard actually fucking like pull off a tactical nuke, which is a smaller nuclear device. You have to deliver it differently, obviously not with an intercontinental ballistic missile. But, considering the somewhat casual nature of how Russia A, dealt with the nuclear power plant in Ukraine, and B, supposedly dealt with all the breaking containment issues up in the original meltdown zone that they went through, which I've been led to believe there's also a lot of there's actually value in a lot of the nuclear pool stuff in the bottom of Chernobyl. It's been sitting there for 30 years. So God knows what he did with it. I thought about it, and I was actually, if I had to put even money on it, considering that he's losing and considering that he's getting more and more pissed off because the West keeps giving missiles and fucking helicopters and shit to Ukraine, I put even money on him using a fucking tactical in the city somewhere in Ukraine because he's almost Trump level unhinged about trying to make this thing happen. So.
It's the biggest bitch maneuver, this whole thing. Oh no, they're shooting back at us. Ooh, you fucking started some shit and people you're getting popped off at. Yeah, fuck you. They're going to shoot back. Yeah, they're going to do everything they can to survive. And you've got powerful enemies. You should have known this was going to happen. Maybe not to this extent, but
I have a clarifying question. Do we know the blast radius of the small yield nuclear weapons that Russia has?
420 miles.
Is that the small yield?
No, I made that up. 420. I was doing a bleed joke. Never mind.
They have
I no idea.
I caught it.
Yeah, you can make small, and I think probably scarily Ross would probably have some input on this, but you can modify and create bombs that have a lower total yield, which means they'll have a much smaller blast radius, and they'll have a smaller area of radiation where people would have fatal levels of radiation. Like you can make a small, dirty and/or conventional nuclear device that only has a blast radius of 30-40 blocks.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, because the ones that I know of that Russia has are big bastards. And if he drops a big bastard, he'll end up hitting other countries as well. Yeah. He may drop a small yield one, but I don't think he's insane enough, necessarily, to drop a really big one, unless the cynical part of my brain is winning it.
Well, that's the thing. It's going to be difficult for him to target a Ukrainian city without A, targeting either a NATO country on the other side with radiation, which then brings up the spectre of NATO involvement, or B, it being if they target the eastern side of the country, A, that undermines the whole we're liberating the east of the country, and B, they've got big cities like Rostov, really not that far away, that would also get fucked up. So it's difficult to imagine them being able to do that without significant blowback in one direction or the other.
Yeah, I think they're going to get the blowback anyways with them killing civilians, so...
Oh, yeah,
it's already there.
But this is But also, just to bring it back to the previous question, when the nuclear holocaust comes around, you're going to regret not selling your fucking organs, aren't you? Complete waste.
Well, that's why you sell them pre-death. Sorry, go ahead, Polly.
So why do we... Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding this. So, why do we think, those of you who think that Putin would actually, or has a, chance of, or even a 50-50 chance of using nuclear weapons, what's your thinking behind that? It's just that Putin's a crazy person, and therefore, I think it's reasonable to think that he would do that, or is there other thinking behind that?
For me, it's just the logistics of where he's at in this war. I mean, he's getting his getting his ass handed to him for what he thought he would be able to do, and they've got very limited munitions in comparison to in comparison to Russia. So the fact that Russia has taken so much damage and they're expending so much of their resources, they've got the tariffs, not the tariffs, the sanctions and all that shit. I mean, they're bleeding money right now. They're bleeding money and resources. So I'm trying to figure out how he's going to wrap this up, because I just don't see him taking the L. That's the thing. I just don't see him saying, okay, we lost, it's over, we'll go home. I'm not seeing that. I think he's going to take it all the way,
Well, it's a matter of will he have the opportunity, because how disastrous does it need to be before he gets, ironically, Putined himself, before the polonium tea gets cracked out for him this time? Because, no one person in any regime is absolutely 100% in control. We saw this with Hitler during the Second World War, several attempts on his life by other powerful people within that regime. And there's no lead. Everyone around someone like that is a grasping, evil, Machiavellian piece of shit themselves, who will happily cap him if they think they could take the crown, which is, ironically, they rarely ever do when they actually wield the sword, but regardless, they're all megalomaniacal fucks themselves. So maybe one of them say, fuck this, I've built up a fortune in rubles that are now worthless by stealing natural resources from the Russian people. I'm not going to let you destroy that. And they cap him.
Problem is that's not going to happen, because as well as mad, he's fucking paranoid. His closest advisors, he keeps 40 feet away from him in the middle of a meeting at the other end of a fucking table, while he's surrounded by fucking bodyguards. It is very difficult to assassinate somebody that fucking mental and paranoid.
Well,
and as for
this
why...
is where you could use the CIA, I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. But as for why I think it is possible that he could end up turning to nukes, more than anything, Putin has proven to me throughout his tenure as president that he is paranoid, insecure, and a very, very, very small penis haver. And the moment...
Whoa. Let's have some respect for the small penises, please. What's going on? We are an oppressed people.
Well, you were saying it dragged on the floor earlier. Make up your mind. Are you dinky or are you massive? Pick one.
It's cold.
Well,
maybe... Take your fucking stack of buttons everywhere. Let me finish. In
fairness, Putin's dick is huge.
Because he is so insecure, particularly about his power base back home, and the fact that he looks like a knob on the geopolitical stage, he will end up at a point where he's going to go, okay, how can I basically swing my dick around the hardest? Mm-hmm. And there is a possibility, with how fucking unhinged he is, that it'll be pressing the button that makes him feel like he's swinging his dick around the hardest.
I think, so Polly, just for shits and giggles, even though I'm, technically not on the panel here, because it was a good follow-up question. Honestly, take Putin's, metaphorical dick out of it. In all honesty, 90% of the reason people believe that Putin's pushing so hard on the invasion and not just trying to take, those two, separate regions, Donetsk and the other one, is because he's literally in his head, Putin's quote, a man of power and of a certain age, where everything you think about is in terms of legacy. And Putin is like, oh, I'm at the end of my line here coming up. I could be the one that, returns all of this to the motherland. People will, say my name for 1,000 years when they sing the Russian national anthem. This is this weird shit that you see old powerful people start to do when they hit a certain age, where all they care about is their legacy, and it becomes an all-encompassing driving factor for the rest of their remaining life. And the more powerful somebody is, the more this fucking obsession for I need to live on past my own mortality, it gets worse. The more powerful and richer you are. Yeah. That's where I was looking at it from.
I see. Yeah, I don't know what is particularly special about this conflict that would give that actually does give me some insight as to where you're coming from. I personally don't see what's so particularly special about this conflict that would give rise to, like, you know, the use of nuclear weapons as opposed to any of the previous conflicts Putin has overseen as the Russian president.
I think because so much U.S. and NATO involvement this time, as opposed to like Georgia and some of the other.
Yeah, well, this one's got.
You got to remember, most of Georgian soldiers were in Iraq helping the U.S. when Georgia was invaded by Russia. So we weren't even helping them.
Ukraine have given them a seriously bloody nose in a way that Georgia didn't, in a way that Chechnya didn't, in a way that Syria didn't. Ukraine have given them a serious test and pushed them back in the north, in essence. They say it's like a tactical retreat in good faith. It's nonsense. They've been pushed back. They can't sustain that up front. So, that's why Putin's been humiliated on the world stage because of this. And that's the dangerous element of it.
He is literally embarrassed.
You know,
that's the thing. Like, Sorry, go on.
Wouldn't you, as opposed to, like, you know, raising the stakes to, like, a nuclear level, wouldn't you just agree to some face-saving peace treaty?
Well, that's the hope, yeah. Like, the people, the kind of talk around the diplomatic circles is what's called the off-ramp. We need to give Putin an off-ramp to step back and be able to give him, like, let him take his imaginary W and, like, pull the fuck back and sort something out, which maybe involves, like, giving up Crimea, maybe some sort of autonomous status for the two people's republics or some shit like that. Maybe that would be enough. Maybe some sort of Ukrainian law about Nazism being bad or some shit, like, so they can say we denazified, whatever. Like, give him some little W he can take back and pretend he won. Which might be the best way forward, really.
The problem is, for Putin, and again, just going off his record historically, that's not a thing that's going to be possible. Because, one, he is very, very proud. And two, when he thinks he's right about something, he will dig his heels in and dig his heels in and dig his heels in. And there is no pushing him back on it at any point. And my concern is that we'll try and give him an off-ramp and he's just not going to fucking take it. Because he's too afraid to look weak. Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's too afraid to look weak and he's too afraid to look like he's lost. This is a man who has photoshopped pictures of himself riding bears shirtless, okay? Like, this is a man who himself, I'm pretty sure, is into bears, okay? Like, gay bears.
Was that
bear
just,
sex. Hardcore bear sex.
It was hardcore bear sex with, and actually, he was in the bear costume as a furry, and the furry bear was in a human costume. It was mad.
Something like that, yes. Yeah. But, like, this is a man who is that insecure about himself and his power base and his popularity that he feels the need to fucking Photoshop pictures of himself riding fucking bears shirtless like a madman. Like, I do not think this will stop at, like, pulling out of Ukraine if given an off-ramp. I just don't. I think he's too fucking nuts. I think he feels like he's invested too much into it. I think he's clinging on to the hope that he could fucking rejoin the Russian Federation and bring that all back together and be the next fucking Tsar Nicholas II or Ivan the Terrible. And I think at this stage, he has pissed his chances at giving up the wall.
He should think more like Catherine the Great and fuck a horse. Just saying.
I mean, he
Probably
might fucking calm
safer.
down if he were to get laid. No, that's what he needs to go have a fucking wank in the cupboard. That's what it is, right? We won't tell anyone, Putin. Just fuck off. Go have a wank in the cupboard. Calm down, okay? You won't want to kill people quite so much once you've got your fucking rocks off.
Can we get in touch with the bear community and say, can one of you take one for the team?
Can we just
calm the fuck down? Can one of you just suck him off or something? Come on.
Can we just
he
get
just
him
needs to
a
wank in the cupboard. He doesn't
nuclear?
even need to suck off.
We need to get him a radiation infected bear, like a nuclear radiation infected bear, and then he can fuck that. I'm sure that would make him extremely happy. I'm sure that would solve all the problems right there.
Well, that's why they were invading Chernobyl. He was trying to find one of those radioactive super bears.
Yeah,
He wants to become Magneto. That's the
With the two
end
eyes.
game.
He
He just wants to become Magneto.
He wants to be bitten by the radioactive bear, so he becomes Super Bear. And becomes like the superhero that, I don't know, eats salmon or something. I don't know.
Well, there's actually like a Russian Fantastic Four
Waxwax, thanks for the
variant called
follow.
the Guardians, and there's a
Oh,
man
Rock and
bear
roll.
with
Glad
a
to have you in the
Gatling gun.
community.
Of
pretty
course there is. Fucking of course there is. Because Russia, that's why.
But I wanted to say that realistically, the use of smaller scale nuclear weapons, tactical weapons, would be like an area denial strategy to cover a withdrawal. But that's only if the army's in full rout, just because of the sort of larger implications. I guess the question about what Putin will settle for comes down to, do you think that he wanted to take and hold Ukraine, and will he will he settle for having a buffer state between him and NATO?
Look, what he undoubtedly did, the cope from the kind of tankoids about, they never had any plans. Well, why was he talking about it being historically part of Russia and how?
He definitely thought he was going to take and hold it.
The Ukrainian people don't really even exist. They're basically just Russians disguised as Ukrainians. Like, it's just nonsense.
Oh yeah, no. He's whatever he thought was going to happen in the first 72 hours is fanciful. But like realistically, what was his end game, or like what was his motivation? And I think his motivation was to keep a buffer between him and NATO, and in particular to keep Ukraine from necessarily being a NATO state.
I think he was hoping to bully Ukraine into coming out and making a declaration that they would never join NATO.
Yeah. Right. Do you remember
more to it than that?
If you remember back during like maybe after like the 10th or 12th day or so of when they first started invading, and you know how it came out that basically Putin knew like they had about like 20 days worth of provisions and ammo. So the whole idea was basically they were going to go on this 6-prong attack, boom, 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 everything. And then the leadership of Kyiv would have to run the white flag up, and they'd be done easy peasy lemon squeezy in like 2 weeks. That was the plan. Obviously, it didn't go to plan, but if you want to look at what Putin's mindset is or what he would possibly take for an off-ramp, if you remember the first negotiations, like Putin basically put out like a missive, and he was like, here is like the bare minimum I would require. This is like, they went to like have a first peacekeeping session. And basically what he asked for was the 2 regions become like independent, like nationalized city-states or whatever. Ukraine does not join NATO or any other multi-country military organization. And God, what was the third one? Ross, do you remember? But it was like, you could tell like the whole thing was, like, as much as he wanted Ukraine,
was the other one.
Yeah, well, he didn't really bring up the Nazi thing in the first one, which was funny because he brought that up in the second one after like day 20 when they figured out they weren't going to take it. Then he dropped the Nazi thing in. But his original demands were basically, I want the 2 regions, and I want Ukraine to publicly declare that they won't join NATO or another military organization, which is why I think this one's different from, Georgia, Odessa, all these other places over the years. Is because it's the NATO involvement that is like the ratchet effect on this for him. Like every time he sees, the US agrees to send Ukraine another 1,000 Stinger missiles. And those are the missiles that are dropping all the fucking Russian planes out of the sky or whatever. Like that's the part that's like the extra. And you could tell that's what's got him pissed off, because it was literally the lead item on the list of demands when they first went to negotiate like 3 weeks ago.
This is the biggest
I thought it was not
failure in modern times, because he's literally turned a situation where he had some influence over Ukraine and could have slowed things down a little bit, and he was able to kind of bully and cajole some neighbouring states, into Moldova, Georgia, and Ukraine have all formally asked to join the European Union, which none of them had plans to do so immediately. Ukraine desperately wants to join NATO. Moldova wants to join NATO. Finland and fucking Sweden, who were historically against joining NATO, now are basically going to do so, it looks like. This has been the worst geostrategic... Look, I thought I would never see anything worse than Iraq for geostrategic fuckery. But this has smashed it out of the water. This is a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
And Ireland want to join NATO now after Irish fishermen had to run a load of fucking Russian army cunts out of our war.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even Ireland is being able to like bully Russia now, which is like
our fishermen made their fucking army shit their pants.
Yeah.
Can I just Irish fishermen?
Fucking mental.
I mean, yes, I used to go fishing with many of them. They're fine, but they made the Russian military shit their pants.
Bro,
so I'm slightly proud.
You've got to be scared of Irish seamen.
That's fair. So according to my chat, they think it called for total neutrality, like the Swiss or something similar.
Well, you know,
Which,
I mean,
it's not ideal because you're kind of giving up sovereignty. But like, if it stops cities being destroyed, maybe it's for the best. I don't know.
Oh, Jason, what do you got?
well, I mean, like Finland is bordering Russia, and they're talking about becoming,
Yeah.
a NATO partner and part of the EU. So, I mean,
And they've threatened to send nuclear bombs to the Finnish border, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because they could be launched from Moscow, so they didn't need to move them. It's just like a dick swinging thing, isn't it?
yeah, propaganda move, you know.
Yeah.
But
most
yeah,
of the things Putin do are dick swinging things at this stage.
I firmly believe that if Putin did take Ukraine, it wouldn't stop there. He'd continue a westward expansion. I don't think it would stop with Ukraine. I don't think that's what he
outside
wants.
of Moldova, there's nowhere he could move where it wouldn't be NATO, and then then you are talking World War. World War. I mean, if they can't take Ukraine, they definitely cannot take most of the other nuclear powers of Earth.
Yeah,
It's not possible.
I think if Putin had successfully taken Ukraine, he would have moved on to the other formerly Russian nations that aren't currently part of NATO, and perhaps the Finnish islands that are currently in the Baltic Sea. But there's no guarantee once he'd taken those, if he had successfully, that he'd have fucking stopped. Because he's said before now that he does want to recreate the Russian Federation.
Okay, well, if he invades Estonia or Latvia, Lithuania, whatever, you've got World War III in your hands.
Theoretically, yeah. The problem is NATO are so worried about getting into a conflict with Russia because of mutually assured destruction that I'm not sure if he'd had ended up invading one of those smaller countries that NATO wouldn't have just gone, well, you can have that one.
I think they would
We
have
saw
to,
what
'cause it's
appeasement did in
it's
World
like-
War II. You know, I mean,
it's like a domino effect. If the reason that I fucking hate NATO, but the reason that NATO do their thing with these smaller countries is because you offer them protection. If that then falls, if Estonia falls, then what point have any of those other countries got with cooperating with NATO? Because, if you're going to sacrifice Estonia, do you sacrifice Latvia? Do you sacrifice Lithuania, Poland, the Czechoslovak nations? Where do you go with that? So they basically have to. It's like the containment of communist spread. Like you can't allow one to fall, otherwise lots more will start to fall.
I mean, theoretically,
domino strategy.
Yeah.
but with
So they have to
NATO's...
take, like, every inch of territory. Otherwise, what's the point of having NATO at all?
With NATO's history, they are very likely to just throw a small country under the bus if they can. It's what they do. And the reason that other countries will still work with NATO is sheer fucking terror that if they don't, they'll get it from both fucking sides, and they'll be fucking doubly penetrated by Russia and the West at the same fucking time.
That sounds way sexier than it needed to be.
True. For a minute there, I thought, I was like, yeah, this sounds cool.
Not
good
the sandwich I
times,
want to
good
be in.
times.
I'll be honest with you. Now I'm thinking it that way. I'm thinking I'd prefer if they just spit roasted Ukraine.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen.
But instead, they just happen to bomb loads of cities into rubble.
But,
No,
like,
I mean, they're,
this is the thing. I absolutely would expect if Russia went as far as trying to take one of the smaller NATO countries, NATO to go, oh, well, you can have that one, just in an attempt to try and prevent war. Because at this point, NATO is big enough that it can do basically what it wants. And if it throws one of the smaller countries under the bus, the other small countries aren't going to fucking stand up to them. They don't have any power to.
That's true.
it's a sacrifice they're willing to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else.
It's
All right.
it's very Lord Farquhar, definitely.
Yeah. You
No.
you are the sacrifice I'm willing to make is peak fucking national military group fucking thing.
Yeah.
This is just ask Palestine how that works out. Just last time a bunch
literally,
of
I mean-
Western nations came together and signed a gigantic military accord after a military action. They literally just lost a country, and they were like, "What? Huh? What are you building here? What happened? We weren't even
Well-
involved in this." So
I genuinely think one of the most disgusting elements of this entire affair went virtually unnoticed by much of the world, which was at the beginning when there was the whole, the price of oil went through the roof. which was eminently predictable. America went to the Saudi Arabians and said, can you release loads more oil, please, so that we, the price goes down. And one of the sacrifices they made was selling further weapons to Saudi Arabia for them to engage in the genocidal slaughter of the Yemeni people. So basically, we've sacrificed Yemeni people to try and save some Ukrainians.
Well, yeah, but do Yemeni people count as white to America?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the disgusting element. Like, we're prepared to sell the souls and the bodies of Yemeni people because, they're brown. So and you can tell actually the immigration thing. Poland put up a fucking fence, literally put up a fence at the border with Belarus to stop Syrians getting into the EU. Whereas the Ukraine is just like, come on in, lads, millions of you, woo, because it's white people.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how the United States responds if we start to see more refugees or migration from Ukraine. The way we responded last time was we did the 1924 Immigration Act, resulting in hundreds of thousands of Jews being sent back to Europe for ultimately being genocided.
Little known fact about Anne Frank, obviously the most famous victim of that particular process, was literally on a boat at the harbour, bound for America, and that ship was turned back because the Americans refused the immigration status of those involved.
Yeah,
so I worry that the United States will more or less say that, Slavs aren't quite white enough for a Anglo-Saxon sort of dominant society.
Well, I expect the US to do something similar to what the UK is doing. So Boris Johnson has said that he's going to be shipping refugees off to fucking Rwanda, including queer refugees, specifically queer refugees. Plus, the MP for the county I used to live in, Lincolnshire, in the East Midlands. So the town I used to live in is heavily Slav populated from the last big wave we had of Eastern European immigration into this country. And the MP's response to the Ukrainian refugee crisis was, you can't expect us to do any more. We've done enough. We've got plenty of Slavic people. We can't take any more. If you let people into the fucking town and you actually gave them fucking infrastructure, the town wouldn't be fucking failing and charity shops wouldn't be fucking boarding up. The thing they put in place to make the place not look fucking boarded up. They wouldn't be boarding up.
I don't disagree.
It boiled my fat.
Well, we were modeling part of our immigration policy off Australia, where they had set up effectively a prison colony island that they were sending their refugees.
Well, they've got a couple. They've got Papua New Guinea, and there's one in Nauru, I believe, which is an independent Pacific Island nation. And basically, it's not only destroyed the lives of the people involved in what is essentially a concentration camp, but it's also destroyed the economy of Nauru, because now essentially the island is dependent on the funds it gets from Australia to run the concentration camp, and basically it doesn't do anything else. So if Australia ever decides not to do the kind of weird genocidal shit they're doing, they would also destroy Nauru as a nation. So well done. You've completely undermined lots and lots and lots of brown people. Well done.
Just before I have to get up and toddle off for a second, I will say Australia can also eat a giant plethora of fucking dicks.
Correct.
Yeah, their leader is
Well
kind of a
said.
piece of shit. So I concur.
All right.
Concur.
All right,
Also,
so
Australia's
Alex is going
got kangaroos bouncing around like a fucking zoo. It's not a real country. Ridiculous.
listen, I've had this talk with multiple Australians in my community. Australia is real and everything wants to kill you. Everything. Doesn't matter. Cute wants to kill you. Small wants to kill you. Big wants to kill you.
Those people are all part of the sinister plot to pretend that Australia is real.
Australia's real.
It's not real.
Canada's a psyop.
I thought people were saying Finland was a psyop forever. Wasn't Finland supposed to be an imaginary country?
No, I don't think so.
It's just because it's covered in snow, you can't see anything. It just looks like blank.
Hello. Yeah, but
All
the
countries
only
are
country is
imaginary,
America,
man.
let's
I'm a
face it.
citizen of the world, brother.
all right, so let's go around the horn real quick. We'll close it up. We'll go next. So, Jason, final answer. Is it possible that Putin actually presses the shiny red button at some point?
Not intercontinental nukes, but I think possibly like smaller nuclear armaments. Yeah, I do.
Kevin Logan.
One word: penis.
Polly, I feel bad because I got to follow that up, but what do you got?
No, he's not going to use nukes.
I hope you're right. Ross Publica.
Everybody should. Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be fine.
I hope so.
The peacenik in me hopes no, but the Posadist hopes yes.
Alex, final, yes or no? Is it possible?
I would like to say no, but I don't trust him to be sensible as far as I could fucking throw him.
There you go. All right, so now I got a weird one for you. This is actually inspired last night. I was in a particular stream, a rather large stream, where it's people who are, quote, let's say, of the left.
Holy
but
crap, Mr.
don't like,
Geek! Thank you
leftists.
so much for the raid. If you guys
And,
don't know Mr. Geek, you
I was
should.
literally
He is
I didn't
awesome.
realize,
Does a
or
ton of work
maybe I didn't
behind the
think of it as a
scenes
matter
for
of
Twitch
perspective.
polls.
But in much the
He's
same
amazing.
way that
And,
the majority
I
of the
appreciate having him
country
here.
is,
So thank you very much,
you know,
Mr. Geek.
quote, just
And
libs
thank you
or
for the
Democrats. It turns
the
out the
follow,
majority of the
Astrolacus.
platform is like libs and Democrats. And apparently
shit.
they all really hate the left. So, because I literally sat there and watched hundreds of comments just fly by, like just, turn the online left is horrible, fuck leftists. Like,
Name names then. Whose stream was it?
it doesn't matter because it was all community stuff.
It does matter. It does matter.
I was in Shed Logic stream.
Shit,
Of course
yes.
that's
Thank
right.
you so
I'm
much,
like
Mr.
literally,
Geek.
like,
Thanks for
there's
the
like
sub. That means a
seven-
lot. I appreciate that.
Like 700 people typing,
Killing
like,
it, man.
fuck
Killing it.
leftists. I was just like,
I love everything
I
you
didn't
do for the
realize how
community. I
bad it
really
was,
appreciate
where I
you.
was like,
and yeah, thank
literally
you so much for
everybody,
the
like
sub
700
and
people
the
are
raid.
just like, fuck these people. I was like, oh man. So here's my question, because the left catches a lot of shit, but is the left catching shit because of the left? Is the left eating itself? I'm gonna start with poly people. Polly, what
All
do you
right,
think?
yes, good. Thank you for starting with me. So the left is not eating itself, with respect to other people of other political persuasions. I think the left eats itself when we waver in our strength. Like we have our consent manufactured a little bit. We get fear mongered. We get convinced there's no it is understandably doomer pilling to live in the timeline that we live in, and so I can see people on the left weakening, moving toward the center. Like you can think of some examples where like people were formerly socialists. Now they're not so socialist, and they blame the left, right? You know, they blame people on the left for not understanding economics or some bullshit like that. But it's really, they started to get a little bit scared and, you know, decided to like mainstream themselves a little bit because it feels safer in the political environment we're in to sort of argue for more mainstream positions.
Nice. Bros Publica, what do you think? Left eating itself?
I don't think so. I mean, Twitch is a small platform that reaches a small audience in the big scheme of media. So what we're seeing sort of like as the lefty personalities on this platform, infighting and maybe purity testing and stirring up drama for content and clicks, isn't necessarily going to stop the revolution from happening, and it will be glorious when it does.
Also penis.
Also penis.
Alex, what do you think? Is the left eating itself?
I'm actually going to have a hot take on this, I think. First of all, soc dems and liberals will soy out the moment they're given any opportunity, especially about the left. So we can fucking discount them immediately. However, the left, generally, I'd actually say yes. Historically, since the left's inception, we've been a fucking walking Ouroboros. between tankies and anarchists or fucking whatever, it doesn't matter. There has always been some percentage of leftists fighting amongst themselves, and now we have like the wokeness purity testing as well, and the guilt by association bullshit based on who you're willing to talk to or interact with, on top of the already like very historical, long-standing infighting that the left has had. So I mean, I think the left is an Ouroboros. I think it's going to stay an Ouroboros. I don't think there's anything we're going to be able to do about it except try and get the reasonable ones on side with conversation. And to a point, for those more unreasonable, like the tankies, like the super purity testers who are more interested in whether or not you have the right language than the right ideas, I think we are at some point just going to have to cut our losses to a certain extent.
Jason Society, your take, open. What do you think?
I want to agree with a couple of things from LexiBat's take, and that is I don't really think liberals and SOCDEMs are part of the left. The capitulation, like was said earlier, every single time demonstrates that. They fold every fucking time. And it is a reason that nothing that's of leftist mind ever gets fucking done. That said, is the remaining part of the left, what we call the left, eating itself? Yeah, it's a revolutionary ideology, which means there's always going to be a lot of hot heads, a lot of hot tempers, a lot of people who are concerned about things like purity tests, like, measuring how left somebody else is in comparison to themselves to decide if they're left enough. I think that's been a chronic problem, and I think a lot of it is born out of the fear of interlopers and the fear of people like trying to come in and maybe government entities or people in more of a position of power trying to come in and kind of change people's ideas, pull them out of that collective mindset, and do damage that makes the left look bad. I really do think that. As a result, people on the left are a little bit more paranoid about the people that are on the left because of this, because we've already seen it. I mean, look at what happened with the Black Panthers. They had people, working for the government inside the Black Panthers. They went and fucking took out some very important members of the Black Panther Party. Well, how are they able to do that? Why were they able to do that? Because they weren't cautious enough about who they brought into their movement, right? Essentially. And I think that we've learned lessons from the past about that. And I think that's why you see that. So I think there's going to be a continual, perpetual, motion machine of this shit happening until we get to a place where everything's very, very, very well organized to the point where we can see who's on the same page with us and who isn't. And we just haven't seen that yet.
All right, so I'm going to throw this out here, number one, because it sounded like a couple people the question's definitely inspired by what happens on Twitch, but the question wasn't necessarily, is the left on Twitch eating itself? I know everybody makes the joke about me and Twitter, but I saw the mass wave of people who started putting red roses in their fucking profiles a few years ago so they can identify as, Dem socks, and so now there's that infighting. In my general thought on this is that although I think almost any group, there will always be infighting, there will always be conflict within a group, whatever size group that is. I think the combination of social media plus anonymity when using social media has made it far more precarious than it's been probably since all the massive government infiltration into leftist organizations in the 70s. I honestly think this is probably the most sketchy the overall left has been since then. But I think largely it's our fault. Part of it's realistic, to Jason's point. We did, a lot of this is born out of people are big on security culture. And that if you don't have basic security culture, you're just asking for trouble. So granted, it makes people who do actual organizing and working groups more cautious. But I think the overall eating of itself, social media, how quickly like people get deified and then they get torn down and canceled. Like, in my head, at least, I think that the social media plus the anonymity, I think, is sort of accelerating it and making it more of an issue. But it's just kind of where I was at. All right, I don't know, hit it.
I don't think Kevin had a chance to go.
Point of order, Chair. I didn't have an intro. What's going on here?
So you know me, white people, flags, you know me.
Well, no, I don't want to do a fucking intro now. I'm not doing
it. He's taking too many fucking gabapentin. Will you shut up, Kevin, and do your fucking intro, for fuck's sake?
No, I'm not doing. I had a joke prepared and everything, but you can fuck yourselves, all of you.
That's why I brought it up, because I didn't think that you'd had a chance to go.
No, it's okay. No.
Come on, now we want to hear the joke. You got to tell the joke.
I'm not heard. No,
you built it all up. You went and built the joke up. Now you got to tell the joke. You got to make with the joke, man. Got to make with the goods.
Well, I was just going to do a call, but I was going to say, we're not eating each other, but we should, because our meat is very tasty. Second only probably to plague victims, I reckon.
Apparently, according to, I don't know, some cunt I've just had come into my fucking chat, this is the whitest shit ever. Because we are white people LARPing. They just literally then carry on cringe alert repeatedly.
I am not just a white person, I'm not LARPing.
Who the fuck asked? Who the fuck asked? You can fucking leave if you want. Like, no one fucking asked you to be here.
Hang on, can I just ask, is anyone LARPing as a white person here?
Technically, actually, yes, because I'm an Irish traveller. I don't count as white.
Well, I'm part Irish traveller as well, so like I feel like, that's enough. Are we got any Italians in the room?
Yeah.
After 9/11, my nickname in high school was Osama.
Oh dear.
Is it because you had a big beard?
I don't know if that counts as white.
I tell people, so I grew up in a very waspy area, and so like kids in my neighborhood, we were like 8, 9 years old. Like in the summer, I'd get much tanner because we would go outside, and all the waspy kids that I grew up around used to call me Muddy.
Oh, that's fucking horrible. Jesus.
Which is some wild shit, and they still remember it to this day, because Muddy is, the more you think about it, the more fucked up it is. You're like, that's half a step above like calling somebody like an actual human being like a mutt or a mongrel or something. Like they called me Muddy. Like I literally grew up surrounded by rich wasps, and I was like poor and just ethnic enough that they were like, dude, go clean my car. Like,
fucking hell.
Yeah,
it was fucked. So the left thing, yeah, no, I'm seriously, because this is a point of concern. Like I feel like we either have a marketing problem or a branding problem, or individually masses of us have like performance anxiety or something. Not like people being on panels, but just generally in life. Like I didn't realize just how bad it was.
Yeah, there's undoubtedly an element of. I think part of the problem is we on the left, because we've got certain actual ethical standards, we hold our side to a higher standard than the right hold their side to, in the sense that like they'll happily throw their weight behind like Roy Moore, a fucking pedophile, right?
Yeah.
They'll do that. They don't care. They have no fucking standards there. There's no hypocrisy, no moral sink to which they won't flush themselves down. They don't care. So there's that. But also when you add in the factor of the dopamine rush of clout chasiness that is the social media revolution, in the way that we communicate with one another on that kind of mass scale, you put those two factors together, and the kind of as we were talking about earlier with actually no, we were talking before we actually got going. I was talking with Jason about people being given negative reinforcement for negative behaviour. They were given some sort of benefit for negative behaviour. The people who sometimes are referred to as woke skulled, although I think that's an enormously cringe term. People who go over the top, do sort of performative outrage at really minor, tiny little indiscretions, who then get pumped up in the algorithm because of the engagement they get from going after some big content creator or some big person. That reinforces that behaviour, and it becomes like a little mini economy, a kind of ecosystem of frankly, bottom-feeding scumbags who will happily tear down anyone for any tiny indiscretion. It's sick.
You know, I would love to see those kinds of leftists, the ones that you're referring to and I were referring to earlier, that are as purity testing as they are, particularly about like language and what have you, because they do get so into the nitty-gritty with it that it does get fucking ridiculous sometimes. I would love to see them down the docks trying to get a bunch of dock workers to fucking unionize, because I guarantee they say worse shit than any fucking liberals or right-wingers you come across on fucking Twitch do.
Absolutely true. I mean, my father literally came over to work in a car factory and did for many years. And even just like the nicknames they would give one another are enormously problematic. But these were some of the best, most steadfast trade unionists and socialists you could find. And if you're going to like purity test them on the basis that they say some things that are a bit rude and a bit edgy and a bit spicy, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to achieve anything. And that's not to say we should abandon all standards or like throw marginalised people under the bus or anything like that. But I think you've got to have a certain amount of leeway for people who aren't necessarily that politically or class consciously engaged.
Rather, ally myself with someone who calls me a T-slur or an F-slur or a pikey, but actually like advocates and works towards like the human rights goal, than with someone who's really fucking anal about their language but wants to take my rights away. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
No, I don't. I would like to hear that again.
I would rather ally myself with someone who uses the wrong words or calls me a slur, but advocates for the right things and works towards the right things, like proper healthcare for trans people, like proper protected rights, than someone who's really anal and purity testy about their language, but wants to throw my rights under the bus.
Okay. I don't know that there's that many. Okay, so like, are you talking about that someone that just doesn't like says the T slur because they don't know that that's a bad word, or because they're an actual like it's hard for me to imagine a transphobe fighting for trans rights, for example.
Here's
Like,
in England, right, you won't get necessarily people using slurs out of hatred. Sometimes you'll just get it out of ignorance. And I would rather like ally myself with someone who has the right ideas but uses the wrong language than someone who has the wrong ideas but uses the right language. Like, I can sit down in a pub here even and hear the T-slur or the F-slur fly back and forwards. That doesn't mean they're bigots, it just means they don't fucking know any better because I'm in a really fucking semi-rural conservative area. And most of the time they're happy to sit down and talk and listen. If you like, and have it explained to them why those words are a problem.
Also, I mean, it's not necessarily the biggest issue involved in all of this, but often the people who are most like anal about that kind of verbal or communicative purity are some of the biggest scumbags in private. Some of the most abusive, nasty, spiteful bastards.
This is true. I agree with that. I think the language policing oftentimes is just like it's just a way to veil your disdain for somebody, and very rarely does it have to do with the language directly. You know, there are occasions I think it does. You know, like when you hear somebody that's dropping the N-bomb or something like that, or, you know, like the T-slur, and they continue to do it repeatedly over and over again when they've been told, you know, dude, fuck those people. Fuck those people. I don't care what the fuck they stand for. I don't care if we could have worker solidarity or not. Fuck them. They're not worth it because they're poison in the well. And their mentality will, and their language will divide a movement.
Yeah.
Nice. Polly?
Yeah, you can't call me the T-slur for long, though. If you say it once out of ignorance, if you're one of those people, and you keep saying it, fuck you.
That's absolutely reasonable and fair. But, like, we cannot have proper worker solidarity unless we include every kind of marginalisation there. Because most of the working class, like, proportionally, is made up of people of colour, of black people, of queer people, who are purposefully kept down by the system.
Yeah.
We have to all work together, or worker solidarity won't exist.
Yeah, that's, I think the point is, if we're going to have a systemic critique, one of them would be that the powers that be, those in control of capital, want a ignorant, uneducated, unsophisticated, conceptually, working class group. And if that's the thing that we know they're working towards, we can't then be surprised if some members of the working class do fall into that category, because the system's been designed to create those people. So I think it's sort of silly to castigate all those people or to brand all of those people in that way. But I agree with Polly's point. Once they've been educated to a point where you explain to them that this is a hurtful or denigrating thing to do, if they then continue to do it, then it's clearly a matter of hatred, and those people can fuck off.
Yeah, or an unwillingness to learn, which is just as bad, frankly. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to say that was relevant to this. Yeah, just as an example of my previous point, queer people in the UK make up 6% of the population. We make up 24% of the homeless in this country. That's like four times as likely as allo cis het people to end up homeless. It's bonkers. And the idea that, and I see this a lot with, older socialists, particularly, 50s, 60s, 70s. They don't think they can bring, or they should bring, marginalised groups along with the fight for class consciousness and worker solidarity. But if you sit down with them and you explain these statistics and these figures, and they're like, look, these are the percentages and this is the disproportionality, they will stop and go, oh, wait, actually, that's a really good point.
Or at least you would hope so.
Most of them, in my experience that I've interacted with, in my real life, have done so.
I mean,
I'm happy to... No, go ahead,
Go
Jim.
ahead, Polly. No.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm happy to, after a point, purity test the racists and transphobes and say, no, you're not actually a leftist.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, that's fair, because and this gets back to the whole, what is the left, what is the leftist, and why at some point I need to get up with Rhizome and have a talk about his how he doesn't like people being labeled and whatnot, which I understood his point on it, but
Speaking of which, I've been...
Yeah, real quick, Ross, what do you got? Hold on. Ross, what do you got?
I think, in part, we default to using labels as a way to either encompass somebody as a whole or dismiss them. There are levels of nuance where people that are sort of deeper into the politics stuff maybe find it to be incredibly useful. Unless I'm talking to somebody that understands the difference between Marxism or Marxist-Leninists or Trotskyists, it's not going to matter, because if you don't know the differences, you don't know the differences. But if you say, well, broadly speaking, I think capitalism is exploitative and screwing us all out of a better life, that's pretty leftist, that's at least as far as the political spectrum that we use, the left-right political divide. But are those labels always useful? And can we, as quote-unquote leftists or whatever, make more substantive claims or critiques of the people and their takes? It's all well and good to dismiss somebody as a lib, but what is it that their take that makes them a lib? Is it that they, figured out what the popular opinion is and then did a little post hoc rationalization to figure out why they come to that conclusion? Or did they do the arithmetic, come to the conclusion, and find that it aligned with their values?
They're a lib if they're not following me on Twitch.
Right.
Fact.
I mean, most
fair.
of the criticisms you find from leftists towards other leftists are pretty fucking vacuous. 9 times out of 10, they're either drama-based, they're very particular identity, political-wise based, they're, so-and-so is friends with so-and-so and I don't like so-and-so, so I'm going to cut off the other so-and-so and they're cancelled now. Mm-hmm. Or they're, super, super over-the-top purity test. And they're someone accuses someone of something on Twitter that is actually completely unsubstantiated, but everyone jumps on the fucking bandwagon. It all seems to be that sort of a thing, like the really problematic criticisms. And even those who have legitimate criticisms, a lot of the time, aren't capable of wording those criticisms in a way that actually makes sense, and without using tons of actual political jargon. So if we want to be able to criticize one another, I mean, great, wonderful, that's how everybody learns, through criticism and conversation. But if you want to be able to criticize a leftist, make sure you know a way to put it that your average Joe can fucking understand. Because if you just go into econ, not even 101, no one's going to be able to fucking keep up with it.
Look, no, if people don't understand my material dialectic praxis, I can eat my bumhole. Anyway, I was just going to say, yeah, I've been drafted in at the last minute for the hippy dippy, so I need to go in like 40 minutes. That's
Shit.
okay.
Have fun.
Nice. Tell the kids we said hi. Well, you want to stick around for the last question, or you got to prep?
No, I'm good. There's nothing too fucking testing. It's not about nuclear physics. It's fine. I don't need to prep. I was born prepped. It's all good.
Nice.
All right. Well then, let's go into last question, and then this way we can get on a good note. Unless anybody has anything they definitely want to add to the left eating itself thing, I'm more than happy to carve out a little more space for that.
Yeah,
There's
cannibalism's
good wild
awesome.
hair on it.
Yeah.
Cannibalism's awesome. Everyone should do it.
For fuck's sake, Kevin.
Yeah, I guess so go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. My last thing I would want to say is get the fuck off Twitter and go fucking feed some fucking homeless people. Go make a fucking sandwich. Go make some soup. Go make some stew and hand it out, whatever. Do something actually fucking useful and stop attacking each other on fucking Twitter.
Yeah, go to a BLM rally and hand a can of Pepsi to a police officer. It's the only one.
I was actually thinking go to Food Not Bombs and actually make food and hand it out to houseless people.
Okay, or join Bombs Not Food, if that's your thing. You know?
Or cans of soup always work well. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
For my
you gotta
family,
keep the family fed.
I've got cans of soup for my family.
There you go.
No.
Anybody else? Any closing thoughts?
I'll be honest with you, right? Closing thought, Biden is not as
the left
meme worthy. I'm just saying. He's not as meme worthy. I mean, he's less likely to destroy the world, maybe, but the memes aren't as good.
True. I would say just kind of my little last thought on it is I think that we can navigate through the left eating itself. I think we can grow. It's going to take a lot of work, and we have a lot of work as far as building out infrastructure. And I definitely echo the sentiments of Lexi Bat saying, get out and do something. Get out and do some real activism, because that's what really makes a difference. Even if it's something like Food Not Bombs, or get involved in, on the local level in your politics, get involved with city council, county board of supervisors, or whatever it is that you have in your area, because all these changes and these coalition buildings, they start from the ground up. Like, you're not going to get some big ass fucking infrastructure built for you by a bunch of billionaires to move socialist movements. It's not going to happen. So we need to do it. And it really starts with what we're willing to do with boots on the ground. And that means getting involved.
Nice. Polly? Thoughts or?
See, my thoughts are, hey, I think the left is good. I think the thing we have to, this sounds dumb. The thing we have to fear the most is fear itself. And the reason why I say that is because fear turns people into chuds. And I keep seeing it happen. This is not, of course, happen to anybody on this panel, but the war has created more chuds. And, the economic insecurity has created more chuds. Inflation is creating more chuds. Have to hold strong, comrades.
Can I just say, you only have fear to fear is fear itself. What about sharks?
Sharks? Well, okay, all right, I was wrong. Well, okay, I knew that was going to be wrong when I said it, and you have proven it right there.
It was
Sharks
contextually
terrifying.
correct. No one was talking about fucking sharks, Kevin.
I'm not talking about fucking sharks.
No, I was. Frankly, I was actually thinking of sharks, and I discounted it. I thought, no, we're not afraid of sharks. Kevin corrected me on that. I'm like, okay, all right, you're
Well,
right.
we shouldn't be afraid of sharks. We just shouldn't go into their territory. Clearly.
Just know how to give them a good sock in the nose, right? They say that's what gets them to run away from you.
The nose won't do anything. You have to punch them in the gills.
Well, there you go. Okay, the
I'm
gills.
talking about
Let's
physically assaulting sharks. I was doing a silly joke. This turned into fucking animal torture. What's going on here?
If you have to protect yourself from a shark, socking it in the gills is how you get it to leave you alone. It's like if
No,
someone is attacked, you
you
smack
talk it-
them in the sternum to
No,
get them
you-
to take a breath and find them.
You talk to them and you debate things out in the free marketplace of ideas. Violence is never the answer.
Hey, if a
Unless it's
shark wants to
sharks,
pull
because
up, pull up,
sharks-
shark. Pull up, shark. Pull up. I got
saying is-
I got 10 knucks for you. I got 10 knucks for you. Pull up, shark. Let's go.
How are you gonna go into somebody else's house and then like kick them in the face and be like, "Hey, I know that you live here, so fuck you. You're getting punched in the
It's
lawn."
it's the rule of the jungle. If you see like an old person in your neighbourhood, you should break into their house and steal all their food like a lion would. It's the only answer.
Jungle is not the sea.
It's the same thing.
It's a sea
Sharks
Let's
jungle.
see, hold on.
Sharks are just wet lions. They don't fucking start with me.
Let me look at the clock. It only took us 136 minutes to get to Anprim. There we go. There we go. Anprim confirmed.
I mean, to be fair, I don't want to return to monkey, okay? I want to return to fucking sea bacteria when the sun was a laser, okay?
Freaking
Any
laser
life
beam.
on land was a fucking mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hang out with sharks anyway because I don't go into the ocean because fish fucking pee in there. All right. Last question, everybody. It's the bonus question. I told you save your energy for the last. Here we go. The one place you can always be sure that no leftist will ever agree is on food takes. Here it comes, everybody. You can only have one single breakfast cereal for the rest of your life. Which one cereal do you go with? Let's start with, let's go back up top again. Let's go with Alex. Alex, what breakfast cereal? What kind of weird UK shit are you picking?
End of discussion. Honey Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah.
That's it. That was emphatic. I like it. Jason Society.
I'd have to go with Fruity Pebbles because I could make like weed Rice Krispie treats out of them, which I fucking love. The Fruity Pebble ones are awesome. So yeah, I would just eat that cereal for the rest of my life in the form of an edible. It'd be wonderful.
That answer was unexpected and gold star material. Kevin Logan, what do you got?
The only thing I eat in the morning is pussy. What's up?
All right, the killer. Save some vagina for the rest of us. Calm
That's
down.
a good breakfast. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good breakfast.
I mean, yeah, can't
All part of a balanced diet.
I prefer dick personally, but it's your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone's got different tastes. You know?
I regret this already. Polly people, what do you got? Favorite breakfast cereal?
Well, I don't know what my
We
favorite
only have one.
breakfast cereal is, but if I can only have one, it's gonna be Wheaties, because I gotta eat my Wheaties so I can have power and strength. If I don't have Wheaties, I am powerless. Doesn't taste
Polly
great, but
knows. I like it. No, listen. Revolution, zombie apocalypse, both of them, the first requirement is cardio. So
that's right. Thank you.
I like it. Polly's being very sensible there. Russ Publica.
I gave this a lot of thought, and while Raisin Bran really is a strong contender, I think that the proletariat's choice has to be grape nuts.
I can see that.
Aced.
Do for the
Not gonna lie. I grew up in one of those
Generic.
households as a child in the winter. That's what my grandmother would like literally make like do like a bowl, put grape nuts in there, like get the milk in there, pour a little sugar in there, and then like put it in like the microwave. Or before we had a microwave, she would literally heat milk up like in a pot on the oven and then pour that into grape nuts. And that was like the deluxe breakfast because it's still like semi-crunchy, but it's not like hurt your gums crunchy. So I feel you, Ross Public. I actually feel you. It is the cereal of the proles. I can't give you poop for that one. That's fairly based.
Two things.
Man,
For the
I'm
sake
stunned everybody came in so based with breakfast cereal. That's all. What's up, Alex?
for the sake of honesty, while Honey Nut Cheerios is my favorite cereal, if I am eating cereal, I actually generally don't. My breakfast consists of my ADHD, amphetamines, a cigarette, and a cup of coffee. Also, someone in my chat in the UK is asking, what the fuck are grape nuts? Like the bollocks of grapes or what?
Yes.
That is
So
exactly.
basically, yeah. Yeah, that's
They go in and they get the testes from the grapes.
Okay, can someone actually answer the fucking question? 'Cause I don't know what grape nuts actually are either.
And,
I don't think people that
Yo,
eat
they're
them know what they
testes of
are.
grapes.
Nobody knows what they
That was
are. They're
clear.
just a cereal. They're
It's hard
fucking
to
weird
describe.
cereal.
It's like fiber, but in the delivery mechanism and the consistency of fine gravel.
So it's basically bad fucking what's the word I'm looking for?
It's brand cat litter.
Yeah, bad granola.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate, actually. Hold on. Hold on. I'm getting reference for you in your chat. Hang on. Hey. I feel bad now.
Hardened barley.
The response from the person who asked the question from this explanation was, "And you feed this to children? You monsters!"
All right, hold on. Alex, I put a link.
We feed all sorts of awful stuff to kids in America. It's bad.
Okay, I just put a link in my chat in just
You're
the regular
gonna
chat. But it's the Grape Nuts website, but it's hilarious because if you go to the website, every single one of them, it's like a picture of like grape nuts with like 45 different varieties of fruit cut up on top of it so that you don't realize that it's actually a bowl of gravel. Because it is the consistency of like fish tank gravel. It's like exactly what it is. And it will totally, like, if you eat it just like hardcore, like you go like out of the box, you literally, like, it slices up the inside of your mouth. It's wild shit.
It's shit muesli. That's what it is. Shit granola or shit muesli. Okay, so the person who asked the question is now saying that it sounds like it'd go nice with his morning gruel and flagellation.
Bro.
It's true. So for the record, I'm going to jump in here. Cereal of choice, even though I don't normally eat it, like I normally like regular, like shitty, like boring cereal, like, you know, like Rice Krispies, Corn Flakes or whatnot, you know, any given day, it's all one box in the cabinet for the, you know, once a week I eat cereal. But if it's like, yo, dude, this is it. This is the only cereal you get rest of your life. What do you pick? Hands down, Cocoa Puffs. Why?
Nah.
Because you can eat them right out of the box as like a sweet snack. They're also good with the milk, and they also make chocolate milk at the end. It's like
Yes.
win, win, win.
You know what? Oh, yeah.
But they're just chocolate and shit Rice Krispies.
No, they're puffy. They're not Rice Krispies. It's more like Cocoa Pebbles are more like Rice Krispies. Cocoa Puffs
Not-
are like
not
robust.
The thing we have that are like basically Cocoa Puffs here is basically chocolatey shit Rice Krispies. And if you want chocolate milk, just have fucking chocolate milk.
It's like a Cheetos puff, but chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. So it's like Kix without the horrible shit on the outside.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is.
It's like an orange. It's basically a corn or wheat puff ball.
Yeah, I never could figure out
Cocoa.
what was on the outside of it, though. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's fucking weird.
Just go with it.
How many of you actually eat cereal for breakfast? Because like my breakfast is usually like a 5-hour energy, then I brew a cup of coffee, and I smoke a couple bowls, and then maybe I
I hope that's a couple of
around
bowls.
noon.
I hope that's a couple of bowls of tobacco and nothing illicit, young man.
It's legal where Ross is, he's fine.
I don't care. Is he?
Oh wait, Ross froze.
He froze.
Yeah, for a minute there, I thought he was.
The CIA got Ross.
No, I'm just
CIA
kidding.
got him.
Oh, he did. I was doing some Jake Gyllenhaal actor shit, and he was.
Oh, why?
Motherfucker.
Fair play. Got mine.
Yeah, as previously stated, my breakfast is coffee, a cigarette, and amphetamines.
Actually, it's a good. Jason, what's normally breakfast? I'm just curious.
Normally breakfast, I do like this fucking supercharged keto diet, so I drink this coffee with coconut oil and butter in it, like blended up. And I have 2 cups of that and do mass amounts of dabs. It's kind of what I'm known for, so you know. But yeah, that's my breakfast, and then, you know, good lunch.
I like to take heroin when I can find a vein. You know, that's my breakfast.
Yeah, you do that
That's
too much, you
very
start
nice.
missing. You know, like start missing veins. You know, was a little harder.
Use a different syringe every time. Have naloxone on hand. Use a little bit before you use a lot.
No,
have a buddy present.
No, you don't. No, you don't use a different needle every time. I'm green. I reuse. Okay.
No, you don't want to do that.
I recycle needles. Okay, it's all good.
No, I can show you some horror stories about that. Do not recommend.
I am joking. I am the most boring human being ever. I take no. Well, I occasionally have some edibles, but that's about it. I'm tedious.
I have a question actually, based on like breakfast stuff. Isn't the whole point of cereal to eat it in your pants while watching shit TV at 4 o'clock in the morning while high out of your mind?
Yeah, and it should be eaten a box at a time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah. If you go into someone's house and they've got like a half box of cereal, that person is a quitter. You need to leave and go on fucking life.
Well, that's how I feel about pints of Ben and Jerry's. That's a single serving, baby.
True. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, that's 2 mouthfuls. Yeah, ridiculous.
I have a weak thing. Like, I'm a sucker for it. I almost never see it in the store, but when I see it, like some child box in my head, like goes ding, and I get it, and it's the little value pack of like the 8 boxes of cereal, but they're all like this big, and it's like 6 different flavors, but then there will be like one bunk cereal that they have twice. Like it'll be like, you know, like a little thing like Fruity Pebbles, Corn Pops, and then it's like cornflakes, and then like, oh, what the fuck? Why do I get 2 cornflakes? But every time I see that in the grocery store, I don't know why, I just have to grab it. Like, I don't know, it's a thing. I can't help myself.
See, I can get away with it because I do got a kid young enough that would still eat those. So I could just be like, oh, they're for her. Or just give her the crappy ones and keep all the good ones for myself. Because I could be selfish like that.
Yeah, I've been
Kids are the excuse. I like it.
I don't have the excuse. I just say, if you judge me at the I will fucking end you. I will end all of you judges. And fucking start with me.
So, Polly, since we did the follow-up, what's your what's actually like the daily Polly breakfast, if there is one?
Oh, okay. What I actually have for breakfast?
Yeah.
Coke, and okay, well, a can of Coke.
Okay. I was like, wow.
Not a lie.
Going all in.
That's a way to wake up. Absolutely.
Yeah. Nope. That's it.
Best thing about
Coke, and I put sugar in. I put extra sugar in it.
Oh,
Why?
I do that.
You're poor.
I don't really do that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Coca-Cola and HRT.
I mean, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
I already admitted, like, freely, that my breakfast is unironically just prescription amphetamines. So,
I mean, look, my breakfast is usually like a Red Bull and like a handful of pretzels or like you know, goldfish or some shit like that. Except for weekends. So like on weekends, like my body doesn't know the difference between a weekday and a weekend, so I still wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on a weekend. But my wife's one of them motherfuckers who loves sleep. So like when it's weekend time, she can sleep until like fucking like 11 o'clock, you know, and then she wakes up at the crack of dawn all week. So on the weekends, it's pretty much mandatory that on the 2 days, one day we like go get breakfast, you know, go somewhere and get like omelets or some shit. And then the other day I cook breakfast. So it's the only time like I actually eat. Like the rest of the week, it's just like, oh, a handful of this and a Red Bull. I gotta go do shit. But weekends, I literally like on command every weekend I have to make poached eggs.
I love poached eggs.
Apparently my wife told me it was like one of the 4 reasons she married me was because I could poach an egg. Apparently that's a thing.
I love poached eggs. I'll get the fuck down on some poached eggs on top of toast. Let's go. I'm about that.
I didn't know people existed that actually liked poached eggs. To me, they just taste like fucking rubber.
As long as they're poached soft, I don't like them poached hard. If the yolk is hard, that's gross. Yolk's got to be soft.
Oh, I can't eat. Mind you, like, I think a lot of this stems from my eating disorder, but like, there's certain textures. I think eating disorder and autism together just fuck me over, and there's certain textures I just can't eat, and a soft yolk is one of them.
Okay, so let me tell you. So here's our thing. This is why I've gotten good at eggs. So my wife likes to have the soft runny yolk, but she doesn't like any of the quote slime being on top of it. So you literally have to get the perfect cook so that
Mike, you're kind of right,
the egg is
but I don't think you'd be offended
all,
by it. You'd probably laugh about it.
For the yolk, like it's tricky. It's taken me a while, to get the
Well, you know
just the right thing.
She was right. You're a keeper. Yeah.
It took me quite a while to figure it out too. Like I same thing with the little slimy piece on the top. I'm like, how do I get rid of this sucker? Yeah.
It's like the ring of goo right around where the yolk meets the egg.
And
it's just it skeeves her out. So it's I have to poach the perfect egg, or else she's just oh, this is horrible.
It does make a difference, though. It really does. That really is the difference. Like being a poached egg aficionado myself, I 100% agree with that.
That's how I roll, people.
There is something about a soft yolk, like a runny yolk, or even slightly soft yolk. The texture is weird and grainy, but not at the same time, and I hate it, and it's wrong, and it hurts my brain. It feels like there are ants, fire ants, on my brain when I am eating anything with a runny fucking yolk. It's wrong and horrible and terrible and bad. Burn it with fire.
Alex's worst food take ever. Okay, everybody, before we do outros, because again, we are the Tracksuit Mafia and we do that solidarity shit. We make sure everybody's fucking in the loop. Here, I got a little bonus for us real quick here. Everybody, real quick, it is our friend Gremlo, who we saw during the first Tracksuit Mafia, and I believe Gremlo has a general announcement for the folk at home. Hang on, here he comes, just like that.
Let's go.
Mellow
What's
greetings,
happening?
Mr. Gremlo.
Well, look at that.
What's happening, folks? Sorry, I threw on my tracksuit very hastily while you were introing me. What's up?
I heard you got a thing going on. Why don't you drop some deets on the peeps?
Yeah, I wanted to come in and poach the spotlight for a second. But tomorrow we are doing a 24-hour charity stream for the Innocence Project, starting at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, my time. We've got a bunch of people coming on. Some of the people that are coming on are on this panel. I'm talking about you, Alex, if you want to come on at any point. Anyone who wants to stop by, you don't have to contribute anything. If you don't have the money, it's all good. Just lurking in the chat, helps with the metrics to get us noticed so that other people come in. Lots of games, lots of goofs, gaffs. We've got actual reps from the organization coming on that are going to be talking about what the organization does. One person that's coming on is a beneficiary of the Innocence Project. They actually were wrongfully incarcerated, and because of the work that the organization does, is now a free agent. So come by, come hang out.
Quick
I'll be there.
follow
I'll
up.
stop
If
by.
I donate $20 to the Innocence Project, do I get to debate Zonsol?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, cool. Because I heard that was a thing. Also, quick show of hands in the chat, everybody. How many people have gotten individually screamed at or yelled at by Sonsol at least once in the last month?
I don't know who this person is.
Be glad.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was going to be a bigger number. I think Ross and Polly need to do more work. All right.
And Greg,
I've been bugging Lauren Southern on Twitter, so I can refocus on
banana
Sonsol.
trying to crawl up your ass.
I prefer reminding her that she's a white nationalist.
Yeah, you're gonna end up with Samantha Banana trying to crawl up your fucking ass.
So Greblo, real quick, what time and where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on twitch.tv/Gremlo, where I'm always at. It seems like I'm never not live. And we're going to start, like I said, at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, going into 8 a.m. Central Standard Time the next morning. And there will be something that I do when we reach our goal of 3K that will stick with me for the rest of my streaming career.
Oh no.
Is it bot stuff?
You're a mod in my Discord, Alex.
Yeah,
you can just go to the logs and see what it is.
Yes, I know. I
Oh,
just
fun
Okay.
stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Only
Hey.
if you're lucky.
I remember what happened.
Heyo.
Okay? I remember the hot sauce.
Yeah, the
I
hot
hope it
sauce.
does.
We will be bringing it back, but not in as much. I will put myself through the pain, but not as much as I did last time.
Yeah, I remember the hot sauce. I cannot imagine this is any better an idea. Frankly.
No, it's much better. It's much better.
So here's the takeaway, everybody out in the audience. If you're a streamer, you should definitely go pop by Gremlo's sometime tomorrow say yo, grab an hour in the chat, tell your people you're going to be there so you can all come by and say hi. And if you donate $20, you get to debate San Soul. So this is like a win-win for everybody, really. The Innocence Project does really good work. I actually have a friend who's an attorney who that's basically like they do like now they're at the point where like 3/4 of the work they do is like off books and pro bono. And so I have a friend that does like he's been doing more and more work with Innocence Project over the last few years. And the number of people who are incarcerated on bullshit and literally like they need nothing more than like test the DNA you took at the crime scene 3 years ago, and they just can't get the government to budge. At Innocence Project, they literally get attorneys to go in and help people who are get them out of prison. And I think we would all assume that the carceral state here in the States is fucking horrible. So if you're around tomorrow, y'all should go visit Gremlo.
Yeah, and
probably will too.
And anyone who plays Elden Ring on PC after midnight will be doing PvP versus chat and streamers. So if you want to come kick my ass in Elden Ring, come by.
Nice.
Very cool.
Oh,
Well played. That's a good idea. I like that one.
Yeah. And we're doing like Among Us and stuff, so.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
with gusto. It's after midnight. Just kill each other. I like it.
Yeah,
The
thank you,
video
James,
game,
for
literally.
thank you, James, for letting me come on and promo that.
Yo, much love. I will definitely pop by tomorrow, Gremlo. I appreciate you. Everybody, if you're not following Gremlo, give Gremlo a follow. Go by tomorrow. Innocence Project does dope work.
All right, folks, I'm gonna let you get back to it.
Poggers.
Tracksuit Mafia.
Cheers.
Out.
Nice. All right, let's go around the horn. Let's say goodbye to all the fine people. Maybe give them a closing witticism, something to remember you by, where they can find you. Top left, Lexibat, hit me.
there was actually two things I wanted to say. Do you remember I told you I had that go at Sonsoy on fucking Twitter the other day? It was because he had turned around and said that the Innocent Project was a scam because he didn't understand the point of it. Because he's fucking brain dead. I'm Alex. I'm an angry trans anarchist who lives in the UK but is Irish. And no, even though I look white, I'm technically not. I'm actually a pikey. And only I'm allowed to use that word because I am one. The rest of you fucking aren't. I make my content through taking the piss out of people who are dumb and incorrect. And you can come check me out at twitch.tv/Lexibat with 2 I's, Lexiiibat.
Can I just make a suggestion? You could contract that to Tranakist.
Yes, but I know someone who already uses that, so I refuse.
Okay.
Yes, I know the same person. It's horrible. Also, your reminder that Lexibat's favorite cereal is actually Lucky Charms. Jason Society, what do you got?
I am Jason Society, Jason_Society on Twitch. Smoke weed every day, if you can, you're in a legal place where you can do it. And again, I'm going to say smoke weed every day if you're in a legal place. And again, I'm going to say smoke weed every day if you can, in a legal place. And then I'm going to say check out Stonercast on Sundays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where your favorite streamers, including James here, get to hang out, get stoned with us, and talk crazy shit.
And then I got hi. Kevin Logan, where can they find you?
Well, other than slumped over drunkenly at a bus stop, they might be able to find me occasionally streaming at KFLogan1875 on the Twitch machines. And I'll just got one thing to say: smoke weed, but only if it's in an illegal place.
Holly people, what do you got?
Hello, my name is Polly. You can find me at Polly People. I am James from the internet's biggest fan. That's my claim to fame. Also, I am pro booba streamer, and I am against. And I spend a lot of time getting fucking mad and upset at centrists and right wingers and some libs. I love to fight, and I guess that's what I do a lot of. I don't like agreeing.
Polly will knock you out if you got shitty takes in the battle place of ideas. And last but not least, Ross Publica, who wants to rent himself out as a human blood backpack so that he can be one half of Master Blaster. What do you got there, Ross Publica?
Well, I'd like to begin by saying they say that smoking cannabis impacts your memory, but I never forget to smoke cannabis. Additionally, self-love is revolutionary, so I hope that all of these panelists go fuck themselves. And I am Ross from Ross Publica, and it's been good to, see you guys.
The only person we have discussed with that needs to go fuck themselves is Putin, okay?
Oh, that was fucking beautiful. Oh my god, Ross Publica, I love you. So everybody, Mod, just throw everybody's links in chats again. Seriously, everybody, like, I always have a good time doing this. I want, like I said, I want to have a panel where maybe people who don't go on panels a lot can come and get a little experience where, you can get disagreed with, but you're not going to be shouted down and called an N-word. And also someplace to remind everybody else other than me that they all have bad food takes. So it's like a 3-for-1 for me. I mostly, I just sit here and reap. It's a beautiful fucking thing. Y'all are amazing folk. My reminder, we do this every other Friday. So hopefully we will have some returning panelists and some new panelists. You're all beautiful people. I really appreciate you coming by. Y'all are dope. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting and
Lexi Bat, Jason Society, Kevin Logan, Polly People, Ross Publica, comrades, y'all. Comrades in the house. Y'all are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last thing I have to say to you before you leave, James, with that Lucky Charms quote, you want to stop with the anti-Irish sentiment because the Greeks invented gayness and you can't talk.
I like gayness.
I do too, as a gay person. I do too. That's the point of the joke.
I mean, I'm not a gay person, but I'm not opposed to some, occasional butt stuff. It's cool, whatever. I'm down for the moment.
It's also a Father Ted reference, to be fair, so...
That is fair. Okay. Everybody, much love. Y'all, I'll hit you up soon. We'll do this again.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care.
Have a good one, gang.
All right.
I love you all.
Cheers!